October 12th, Fayetteville City Council meeting to order. This time we will ask that all would rise for the invocation, which will be given by Councilman and Minister DJ Haire. After that, if you could please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Minister
Thank you,
Haire.
Mayor. Thank you, Council. Lord, we just thank you for another great opportunity to come to you and just say thank you. Lord, we are so thankful for how you've taken care of us through last week, through the day, just allowing us to get up. One of the first things you did for us, Father, this morning is you allowed us to get up, and we thank you. Father, we ask you to continue to get ahead of our city, our country, as we go through and deal with COVID-19. We continue to ask you to heal our bodies, heal those who are in the hospital. Let them be healed now in Jesus' name. We also ask you, Father, continue to touch the scientists and the research, those that are putting the vaccine together, Father, that it can be brought out and effective soon. And Father, we just thank you for the city of Fayetteville. I thank you for my fellow council members. We continue to ask you, Father, to rest in our hearts, to rest in our spirit. We ask you, Father, continue to bless us, to be on one accord, to support one another, Father, not going backwards, but going forward together. Let us always remember, Father, that we are working for the citizens of Fayetteville. This is their business, and we ask you in Jesus' name to take care of us. Continue to look over on our communities and our neighborhoods, from those that run back and forth through the neighborhoods, Father, that might want to cause havoc. We ask you in Jesus' name to cut the head of the enemy off and stop them right in their places. And Lord, we just continue to ask you for blessings and for joy. And all of these things, we petition these things through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Councilman Haire, Minister DJ Haire. At this time, we'll ask that Mr. Scott Bullard will come and give us an update on COVID-19 and our state of emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Today is the 211th day of our state of emergency, still ongoing. 196 of those days have been under some form of restriction. We find ourselves now in day 10 of phase 3. and we're kind of at the midpoint of that with about 11 more days to go. Not sure what comes after that, but we'll be watchful and try to anticipate what we're given from our public health partners. At this hour, 232,747 cases in our state, of which 6,168 of those are here in Cumberland County. And of the 3,773 tragic fatalities, 81 of those belong to our community. A note on fatalities, and this is kind of concerning, that our neighbor in Robeson County now has passed us with 84, and that's kind of a concerning metric. They're having a 12% positive rate there, and that's well above, as many as you all know, well above the mark that's been set of trying to achieve 5% or less. Today in Cumberland, we're at 6.4, which is right around the level of 6 where the state as a whole is at the moment. We still want to get below that. Our peers of an urban nature, from Guilford on up to Charlotte in size, are somewhere in that 3.9 to 5.8 range, and I know we can get there. It's just a matter of hand washing and social distancing and wearing our mask. The good news is that 206,471 have recovered from the illness, and we are anxiously watching the improvements in testing, the other products that are coming out there, and then the promise of a vaccine. I know you've heard some recent information on the local news about the state hospitalization rate being up. It's hard to read too much into that. I know today we had 1,109 with 96% of the hospitals reporting. The good news for our community is that Cape Fear Valley is doing fine. We have resources. We're nowhere in the predicament that some of the other places are at. We've kept a watchful eye, and I bring this back to council's attention because this is a note of thankfulness about our congregate type populations, our nursing homes. We've had 7 that the state's monitoring right now with nothing too alarming, but we want that number to be as low as possible. The same can be said with residential care and child care. Those numbers have been low, and we're very thankful for that. In fact, we had a private school wiped off the chart that they track it with, which is great news. We like to see things disappear from the radar, if you will. I'll just plug also one of our neighbors because we're a partner in the Feeding the Carolinas. I've talked to you about that before. There's 10 or so food banks that together across our 2 states with North Carolina and South Carolina that cooperatively partner for all things hunger fighting related. And our neighbors in central and eastern North Carolina, they're based out of Raleigh, were chosen as the Food Bank of the Year, if you will. They're in that network of 10 along with us, and we tip our hat to them because this has all been a unified effort. We've all been working together, and where there's surplus, it goes out to those that don't have it. And that's something to be celebrated, but we can't give up on that because we know here in Fayetteville and in our area that hunger strikes about 1 in 6 of us, but 1 in 4 are actually children among those numbers, and council's done a lot to try to suppress that, and that effort's going to continue going on, especially as we turn towards the holidays, and you'll see more food drives and more efforts, at least on behalf of Feeding the Carolinas. Before I turn over for questions, I have one last plug to make with what it's been this past week with Fire Prevention Week, and want everybody to serve up fire safety in their kitchen. That was the theme this year. The kitchen is the most dangerous room in the house, and remind people, especially as we transition to the holidays with Thanksgiving and Christmas, to be careful with the kitchen and don't leave the pots unattended. Subject to your questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bullitt.
Yes, sir.
Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mr. Bullard. I have a quick question about as we transition into seasons, flu season, are there any preventative measures, and probably not preventative, but are there any measures that they are beginning to set in place, for example, to not get the two mixed up, COVID and flu? As we know, flu doesn't treat everybody the same, just as COVID isn't treating everybody the same. But as we start to see numbers coming down and people are not necessarily going to be testing as much, or probably tired of testing or don't want to do it anymore, when flu season kicks in, do you know if there are any measures or efforts that they're starting to go ahead and put in place to attack it ahead of time so that we probably don't have to go into another shutdown?
I think the biggest discussion point on the landscape at the moment is to push the flu vaccination, which is now out, very common. Many of the drugstores around town are giving them. And some people have taken it to the extreme that some of our medical centers invariably will, as they've always done, had staff and providers and so forth get the shot. I know I have a child in one of the UNC system schools where it's mandatory to get the flu shot. The thought process there is that's one thing we might be able to abate or take off the list and not have to worry so much about. It's going to be confusing, I guess, to some people. There's a lot of mythology that is dreadfully troubling with the flu shot, that if you get the vaccination, you're going to get a case of the flu or a mild case. None of that's true. That's just mythology. So I would say, to the extent possible, we just need to urge people to go ahead and get the shot before it really moves in here. What we see every year with the flu, and this is human behavior, once we have a gathering, and probably the biggest gathering on our horizon right now will be Thanksgiving. Then after that gathering, a few weeks, that's when we see the flu spikes. Same way with Christmas and so forth. But that's not unlike what we have with COVID if we have a mass gathering of many people that are unprotected.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Councilman Haire.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. That was a good point you brought up. As we move into like Christmas and Thanksgiving, which are one of the holidays where a lot of families like to come together, what do you forecast on how that should be done? Or during this COVID time, should we continue to kind of stay separated, or will the mask and the gloves, because that's one of the big family periods, at least it is in our family. Thank you, Mayor.
It is, and I think we have the tools. We've got I'm going to call them the social distancing habits that have already formed. If we can minimize those groups where possible, and a lot of that is going to be groups outside our immediate families or the people that we are closest to all the time. Nothing's going to be perfect. Nothing's going to be 100%, so we're still going to have to wear our mask and wash our hands and maintain those distances. I think there's some fear maybe in the not too distant future of watching what Europe's going through right now, but Europe's problems have been triggered by a total stand down of some of those efforts with this second spike that they seem to be having in some of the Western European countries. And it's hard to draw an analogy here because our testing is so robust, even though it's not to where we want it to be. So I think the ultimate answer is we just got to continue on what we've been doing. I don't know what in the next 2 weeks that next phase is going to look like. I pray that we're going forward and there might be some more loosening up. But as we have those activities and they enlarge, movie theaters, houses of worship, and so forth, we're just going to have to be careful.
Thank you. Ms. Bullitt, thank you so much.
Yep.
We appreciate it. All right, council will move to other announcements. I'll go to Councilmember Banks-McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of Councilwoman Tisha Waddell, I'll be reading a proclamation. She did want me to mention that she apologized for not being here, so I will go ahead and read the proclamation. Whereas many Fayetteville, North Carolina parents and families have suffered a miscarriage as stillbirths or the death of infant during delivery and shortly after birth. And whereas this devastating tragedy often occurs suddenly without warning as a result of miscarriage, stillbirth, preterm birth, sudden infant death syndrome, accident or other causes or complications. And whereas Fayetteville, North Carolina wishes to acknowledge the profound grief experienced by families who suffer the death of a baby. And whereas even the shortest lives are still valuable and the grief of those who mourn the loss of these lives should not be trivialized. And whereas a month of remembrance honors the lives of children taken far too soon and supports grieving parents, grandparents, siblings, and other family members whose lives are forever altered. And whereas recognizing pregnancy and infant loss awareness would enable the people of Fayetteville, North Carolina, to consider how, as individuals and communities, they can meet the needs of bereaved mothers, fathers, and family members and work to prevent the causes of these deaths. Now, therefore, I, Mitch Colvin, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, on behalf of City Council, hereby proclaim the 15th of October in year 2020 to be in honor of Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness and Remembrance.
Thank you so much. A very important topic. This time I'll go to Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be reading a proclamation in honor of Light Up Fayetteville Pink. Whereas during October, we raise awareness and encourage people to take steps to reduce the risk of breast cancer. And we encourage all women to talk to their health care providers about mammograms and other methods of early detection and what can be done to reduce the risk. And whereas more than 276,480 American women, 2,620 men will likely be diagnosed with some form of breast cancer in 2020. Because of early detection and improved treatment options, deaths from breast cancer have been decreased significantly in the last decade. But there is still work to be done, and whereas since its inception in 2017, Light Up Fayetteville Pink has collected donations from the community with pink light bulbs donated to the nonprofit by Mid-South Lighting located at 3633 Sycamore Dairy Road, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Whereas the funds generated from each donation contribute to supplying wig vouchers, providing nutritious meals for chemotherapy patients, basic needs assistance, and mammograms for uninsured carriers. Whereas to encourage everyone to take steps in detecting breast cancer early and to express solidarity with those who have been affected by the disease. Fayetteville City Hall will be lit pink on Thursday, October 1st, 2020 at 6 p.m. Now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the City of Fayetteville, Mitch Colvin, on behalf of the City of Fayetteville City Council and all of citizens hereof, I do hereby proclaim the month of October 2020 as Light Up Fayetteville in Pink Month. And I also want to thank my fellow council members for wearing pink with me tonight, and I greatly appreciate it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there, go get your tests done, go get your mammograms done. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Councilmember Ingram, you want to go into the other announcement that you have?
Absolutely. Census, guys. So, we have been graced with back to the original date, which is October 31st. And ironically, Councilmember Haire is going to pick this up. Ironically, the deadline ends on the last day of early voting for North Carolina. So you can't really mess that up, right? So my 2020 census is where you can go to respond to the census. They have started to go back to door knocking and are practicing social distance measures, so you don't have to be right up on somebody. And you can call in at 844-330-2020. Please make sure you're getting counted. It helps us represent you better. It helps us meet your needs better. And it helps us really ensure that we are spreading our resources equitably in this city. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And just for those who are listening, we know we're preaching to the choir, but we need you to talk to your grandkids, your neighbors, your nephew. Everyone needs to go and fill out this My 2020 census. Our numbers, our percentage of response is down below 2010 when we lost hundreds of millions of dollars in this community for the last 10 years. So we are below that number now. So we've got a lot of work to do between now and the end of the month. So thank you, Councilmember Ingram. Mayor Pro Tem Jensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I just wanted to talk about Light Up Pink, Fayetteville Pink. I wanted to acknowledge Miss Gladys Hill that had started the Light Up Pink program and is selling the pink light bulbs around town to help women with cancer. And also, I would like to mention Mark Pizzella. Through these 5 years, it started in 2015, that he would always light up the market house, and this year he helped light up the city hall. So I wanted to make sure that those two individuals know that we appreciate them and everything that they're doing for our city. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, council, thank you for the announcements. Thank you, Mr. Bullock, for the update. At this time, council. Councilman Haire, I didn't see you light. You had something?
Oh, yes, sir, Mayor. Just wanted to reiterate, it's early voting time, and it begins this week. It begins Thursday, October the 15th, and it goes to October the 31st. And we're asking everyone, please, this is not the season to stay home. I know it's a very challenging year for us all. For those of us that don't get around too well, curbside voting is still in effect. We will be taking our 89-year-old mother to vote, and we will be using curbside voting ourselves. So once again, this Thursday, October the 15th, until October the 31st is early voting time, and we want everyone to get out there and cast their vote. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. All right. Council, thank you so much. Very important announcements for the citizens to take heed to, so please share that information. At this time, council will move to the approval of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So be it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, there's a motion by Councilmember Wright, and there's a second by Councilmember Ingram. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous by those that are present. All right, council, as we get into the rest of the meeting, just a few reminders. We'll try to utilize our lighting system for recognition, so that I can make sure that I acknowledge you when you ask to speak or to make a point or a question. Also, we will operate under Robert's Rules of Order, so if you can work with us to do that, we'd appreciate it. Council, I'll move to item 6.0, is the consent agenda.
Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda.
What's your light for me again, Councilman? Okay. All right, is a motion to approve consent by Councilmember Wright. There's a second by Councilmember Kinston. Any discussion on the motion? Councilmember Banks-McLaughlin?
Yes, I would like to pull item 6.05 for discussion.
All right, so that would need to amend the current Wright-Kinston motion to approve with the exception of 6.05.
So be it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, okay, so there's an amended motion to approve the consent with the exception of item 6.05. Any further discussion on that? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous by those who are present. Item 6.05, Councilmember Banks-McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Mark Brown, if you can come up here just for a couple of questions.
Mayor, Council, how are you this evening?
I'm pretty good.
Yes.
So this is 6.05, the adoption resolution for the Bovell Court and Hoke Loop Road, City Fayetteville, through the Fayetteville Public Works Commission. If you can kind of just give kind of go into details a little bit what this consists of for the residents off Hoke Loop.
Councilmember. So this is part of the work in Area 24 of the Phase 5 annexation. So this easement is required to allow us to continue the sewer authority so we can pick up everybody in the area. So just a little background for the citizens what an easement is. Okay, an easement is agreement between a property owner and another party to give special limited privileges to the property, to the third party, second party, to do things on the property. So what we're asking the city to do is to be able to put a permanent utility easement, an underground sewer line in there, that would limit the availability of that portion of the property for certain things. For example, you could not build a permanent structure over top of that. So we're asking for a permanent right to put the sewer line to be able to serve that area, all right? And then we're also asking on either side of that a temporary right to be able to construct in that area. So we're going to take up some of the property on a temporary basis so we can build what has to go in that sewer line, and we'll return both of those areas to their state as they were before when we're finished. So this is basically asking the city to permit us to do that. It's important because as the city goes forward and either uses that property for its own use or maybe in the future sells it to someone else, it's clear to anybody that what restrictions there are about what can go in the area where that utility is. So does that help, Councilmember?
Yes, it's someone help, but can you also explain to them the reason why we're doing this for the annexation for the sewer lines to
Right,
connect so that it can?
Yes, so this is part of what I call the Phase 5 annexation sewer extension. So when the city, several years ago, annexed the western part of Fayetteville and other parts as part of the Big Bang annexation, that initiated a state requirement that all the city services that were provided to other city residents be provided to the residents of this area. Okay, fortunately, a lot of the sewer infrastructure was in place and met the state requirements at the time, so there wasn't a very short time frame on this to do this work. So the city and PwC came together and agreed that we would extend sewer into this area. Okay, this is in the area, area 24 out of 34. So we're about getting close to 3/4 of the way finished with all of that. So this is just part of that effort to meet the state requirements to do that. And it's part of the continuing thing. I think the total thing is expected to be done in 2024.
Okay, that was my next question, and thank you, because I know they're very excited
Good.
for this. One more thing, you said the time frame should be around next year, around June.
Right, so yeah, so, and I'll confirm that date. It's sometime next year. I think this area will be finished in end of June next year.
Okay, so from now till then, what is the process? What can the citizens, not hope to see, but what are some of the challenges they may face as far as the construction part?
So we have had a pre-construction, we have a pre-construction meeting every time we do this, and we go in and we explain to the citizens. We've been doing those virtually since the state of emergency. So what the citizens have to be concerned about is it's going to be a mess. So we make that very clear. It's going to be, when it's rainy, it's going to be muddy. When it's dry, it's going to be dusty, all right? So what they'll see is there'll be periods of time when we'll be digging a trench about 10 feet deep down the center of the road to put the sewer line in, okay? During that time, the citizens will always be able to get in and out of their home, even when it's in front of their home. So they're going to be inconvenienced. Okay, we always make sure that any buses or fire trucks or police can get in and out. We give them access and priority to get in and out, and we work with the citizens. We work 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays, and that's the time when we do the work. So to do that so the citizens aren't as inconvenienced as they could be, so we do that. It takes a little longer to do that, but we think it's better to give the citizens flexibility of how they get in and out. And then there will be some places, and they're told when we have the pre-construction meeting, where equipment may be mustered and kept, overnight during the work as the work's going on. Does that help?
It does. When is the meeting?
I think the meeting for this area has been done. I'll check and let you know.
Okay.
Because I think we've started in this area. I'd have to confirm that, but.
Okay, I'll send you an email.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anything else?
Thank you. I do have a question, Councilman Haire.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Over the last few years, the citizens and even myself occasionally hear that there is a surplus sometimes that PwC has. My question is this: that strip paving and that patch paving has been an issue for years. With the growing, strong organization that the Public Works Commission is, has it ever been considered that our Public Works Commission that represent the citizens of Fayetteville, that the citizens of Fayetteville pay for, ever considered going in and just paving the citizen streets instead of going back with the patch paving and the strip paving, which is nothing but a mess.
Thank you for the question, Councilmember
you, sir.
Haire. In 2016, okay, after the new charter was approved, the commission voted unanimously to repave every street in Phase 5 going forward. So we worked with the city, worked very closely with city staff to figure out what the best way is for the citizens to get the best road that they could get. And so what we do, every time we do the sewer work, we get a 1-year warranty, because anytime you dig a hole in the ground, it settles while you're waiting for it to finish. So our contractor gives us a 1-year warranty. So what we do is we let that 1 year go by and the contractor fixes any settling that happens, okay? And then we pay the city's pavement contractor, we pay them to go in and put the overlay in over top of our patch. So what we do is we put a patch in, we let it settle, we fix the settlement, and then the city contractor between a year and a half will come in later and they get an overlay, and the commission pays the cost of that overlay.
Thank you, sir. I was aware of that, but I'm glad to hear it because I represent some of the same folk that council member over there does, and they would love.
Yeah, so that we
all
started,
appreciate that. Thank
we've
you.
done, I think,
Thank you,
2
Mayor.
of them already with that new method, so.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, council. So with that, Councilmember Banks-McLaughlin, I'll look to you for a motion to.
One more question. I want to piggyback off of DJ. I'm gonna make it quick for Councilman Haire. Now, for private roads, because I know Hoke Loop, there are some private roads in that area. What do you recommend?
So there's a number of different ways. So our policy is that, because we're not in the business of maintaining roads, all right? So our policy is we don't put water or sewer in the road unless there's a responsible party for maintaining the road, okay? Most of the time, that's the city, in city streets, and you maintain them, and we put them in, and so if something's wrong with the street, the city's gonna fix it, and the sewer will be protected, all right? So on private streets, if there's a homeowners association that's willing to take responsibility for the streets, we'll go in and put the sewer or the water in the street, what has to go in there. And I'll give a recent example. Wendover, which is one of the recent areas that's getting ready to start construction, they were private streets, okay? We talked to them and told them what it is. They have a homeowners association that's kind of been dormant for a while, but it has been picked back up again. And so we talked to them. We said, one of the ways you can do this is you can take responsibility for the streets, okay? And tell us that you'll be responsible for the streets. Or the other way you can do it is petition the city and ask the city to accept responsibility for the streets. And they did that, and the city accepted responsibility for the streets. So now Wendover subdivision is getting water and sewer in those streets because those streets are now city streets. So there's 2 ways for people on private streets to get water and sewer. One is to have a homeowners association accept responsibility for the maintenance of that street. And the second way is to petition the city to take responsibility for that street so we can install that in there. Does that help you, Councilmember Banks? Yeah.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, Councilmember Banks-McLaughlin?
Okay, yes, I would like to make a motion that's, council recommends approval of the easement of the completion of the sanitary sewer collection for system projects through the Farmington neighborhood.
All right, there's a motion by Councilmember Banks-McLaughlin to approve item 6.05 as presented. There's a second by Councilmember Haire. Any discussion on that motion? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes. Madam Clerk, it is unanimous.
Thank you, Council.
Those present? Yep, thank you. All right, item 7.0 is the public forum. This is a time that any Fayetteville resident may have input and a voice in what goes on in their city. Due to policy restrictions, the forum will not last any longer than 30 minutes, and each speaker will be limited to only 3 minutes to address the city council on city-related issues. Individuals wishing to speak at tonight's public forum should have signed up with the city clerk prior to the start of tonight's meeting. If you are here to speak on items that may be on tonight's agenda under public hearing, ask you to please reserve your comments until the public hearing. So when your name is called by the city clerk, we ask that you would come to the podium and state your name and home address. Then, when you see the light indicated from green to yellow, go from green to yellow. You have 30 seconds remaining. And when you see the red light, that means your time has expired. Again, due to policy restrictions, we're unable to extend the given time. With that being said, Madam Clerk, ask you to call your first speaker.
Yes, so we have 7 speakers signed up. Our first speaker is Mr. Michael Pinkston. He's not on there. Okay. Our next speaker is Miss Mary Harris. Okay. Mr. Brandon Harrell.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, Mr. Harrell.
Okay. First, I just want to thank you guys for your time and for your service to our community. I have some concerns about
Mr. Harrell, excuse me, didn't mean to interrupt you. Can you state your name and address for us?
Brandon Harrell, 287 St. John's Wood, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Thank you, sir.
I have some concerns about the homeless camp that's on Gillespie Street under the overpass on 87. And the city provided the porta-john and the sanitizing station that's there. One is I have concerns for the people that are there in general. There's no sidewalk path in that area. The folks there are congregating along the road, and I fear something. A car could potentially run off the road and hit these folks because they're sitting there most of the day. I also have concerns for the businesses on Gillespie Street. It's not a good look. It's deterred many of the customers from visiting the area. And, the third is that, the 87 is a gateway to Fayetteville. And it's just not a good look. I mean, we've right off the main highway, right when you come into town, there's a homeless camp right there. And it's not I was told it was potentially going to be a temporary thing, but some of these folks have vehicles and they're parking them in the medians, and this is I don't have a good solution for it. I've offered help to the people there, but I do have concerns of them being in that location and potentially being hit by a vehicle, and just the overall impression of being around so many businesses in the community. That's all I have, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harrell, and we will forward that information to appropriate staff member to take a further look. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, our next speaker is Miss Carolyn Hamilton.
Good evening.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Ms. Hamilton. Can you state your name and address for us?
Yes, my name is Carolyn Juliet Hamilton, and my address is 363 Tucson, that's spelled Tucson Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina. I want to thank you all for allowing me to speak. My concerns tonight is that in the last month, in the month of July, I've been a victim of, I would say, some type of hate crime. My car has been vandalized twice in my garage. It was shot up. The first time the wheels were stabbed. The second time it was shot up, the wheels were stabbed, the windows were busted out. And I'm very concerned about that. There's an investigation that's going on, and I do want to thank Officer, because she's now Captain Kelly Burgess, for actually coming out with officer number 55, and I believe it's the forensic team. I'm not sure if that's the correct word, to do some type of investigation and take some pictures. I would like for this to be followed up, and for the city, the police officers, to do the best to find out who did this. I was chased in the beginning of that week. I believe it was like on 7/8. I'm not sure the date, but I was chased down Yakin Road, which I reported it with a tag, and a description of the vehicle. And I do have videos. And again, I am.
We lost her? Okay. All right. We'll notate she had 1:15 if she calls back before the session's up. All right, Madam Clerk, the next speaker.
Mayor, our next person signed up is Mr. Sean McMillan.
Mr. McMillan?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Can you state your name and your address for us?
Sean McMillan, 6024 Golden Range Drive. Is the city of Fayetteville more devoted to order than to justice? In our silence, are we the people that Dr. King described as preferring a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice? Dr. King said we are confronted with the fierce urgency of now. Urgency of now because we still have a system that routes allegations of police misconduct right back to the police. Civilian Police Oversight Authority, in conjunction with the CRB, is a proposed answer to this problem. We need independent oversight now. Urgency of now because at least 3 more people have been killed by local law enforcement since PACT addressed the council in August. Adrian Roberts on 19th August, Lynn Eldridge on September 10th, and John Haire just last week. PACT has been asking for a specialized response for mental health crisis intervention since the 2018 police shooting of Timothy Smith Jr. We call on you to establish crisis response teams now before another life is lost. Urgency of now because the council and the city manager failed to hold Chief Hawkins accountable for covering up the homicide of Joshua Oxendine. Your silence on her failure to update the public leaves the door open for more cover-ups in the future. We repeat calls for special council meeting to examine the September 2019 police homicide of Joshua Oxendine. Urgency of now because this council has the power to pass a non-binding resolution or make a proclamation calling for an end to cash bail. No one should be kept in a cage for being too poor to afford bail. Urgency of now because according to the FPD open data, driving while black in Fayetteville in 2020 is still statistically just as dangerous as it was in 2012. Urgency of now because the Fayetteville Police Department and CCSO have failed to make a single major policy change. Police kneeling, painting, and performative dance changes nothing. We need you to reform your policies and enact substantive structural change. That's what we've been demanding. Urgency of now because we're already too late for Najee Hagans, Kevin Grissett, Lawrence Graham, Shakur McNair, Trevor Smotherman, Adrian Roberts, John Haire, and Joshua Oxendine. The call for a CRB resolution made by Councilmember Wright in June. The lone vote cast for a CPOA made by Councilmember Banks-McLaughlin in August, and the recent work done by the mayor on the statewide task force are worthy of appreciation. However, as a whole, we're still failing to meet the demands of this moment, and your silence is deafening. As Dr. King also said, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, I understand Ms. Hamilton's back on. Ms. Hamilton, can you hear us? Ms. Hamilton?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. So you have about 1 minute and 12 seconds left, so we'll let you go.
All right, thank you. Yes, like I said, I'm very concerned about the, I'm fearing for my life in reference to the vandalism and the shooting. It was bullet shells that was all over the ground. The police was called out, and there's still an investigation that's going on. But I'm petitioning the council to follow this up. And I did hear the person that was after me speaking of the different crimes that has been going on within Fayetteville. And I would also like to thank you all for the light up Fayetteville pink. My mother is one of the oldest, and she's gone on now, my grandmother, living cancer survivors. So I want to thank y'all for acknowledging that and making it a holiday. And again, my name is Carolyn Hamilton. The address is 363 Tucson, Fayetteville, North Carolina. And the vandalism of my car twice in the week of September the 6th. I would like for that investigation, and I would like for y'all to do your best to find out who did that. I'm in the community of the Foxfire community, and I do attend all the Foxfire community meetings before Zoom. And I want to thank Mr. DJ Haire for following up with the officers to get some of the information for me. But again, I want the vandalism to be investigated, and I would like to find out who was responsible for it. I am a person of disability.
Ms. Hamilton, your time's expired, okay? But thank you. We'll make sure that, I know that the chief is here and several of her assistant chiefs, so we'll make sure that someone follows up with your concerns. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Our next speaker is Miss Kathy Greggs.
Mr. Greggs, how are you?
Hello, good evening.
Can you say your name and address for us, please?
Yes, my name is Kathy Greggs. My address is 4607 Woodline Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28314. How are you, everyone? I just want to say thank you for allowing us to speak here tonight. I am the co-founder and president of Fayetteville Police Accountability Community Task Force. The reason for my call is a caveat on our founder, Sean McMillan, regarding the mental health response in Fayetteville. Fayetteville Police Manual 2018. It actually states in 3.14.4, dispatch calls of accessing resources when it comes to 911 calls regarding mental health crisis. The dispatcher will continue to get as much information needed as possible from the caller. In this situation, at least 2 officers and a supervisor will be dispatched to respond. When possible, the closest available crisis intervention team officer should appear on the scene. This did not happen through several occasions. One occasion is Gerard Atkinson, as well as Joshua Oxidine. Fayetteville PAC and Butterflies and Pearls has requested that we have a special council meeting with the city as well as the county to address mental health response for police. We are losing lives because you are not following your policies as it is implemented by the Fayetteville PD, stating what is supposed to happen for a crisis situation. We are losing people because people are not doing their jobs accordingly. Accountability and transparency. There's rules and regulations and policies that are governed that are not being implemented by our own Fayetteville PD. The loss of the lives and the loss of families is our concern. Your concern and your integrity as a council must understand that we must adhere to our own policies and procedures and be held accountable. I say to you, please allow us to do a special council meeting so you can see our actual resolution contract, to look to the city as well as the county to bind it together on mental health response for our police officers. This is the betterment of Fayetteville as a city as well as the families. Thank you.
Thank you.
May we have no further speakers?
All right, I'd like to thank all of our speakers from
I'm
Public
sorry, I
Forum.
apologize. I have one more. Mr. Del Crawford.
Oh, okay. Mr. Crawford, sorry about that, sir. Mr. Crawford, can you hear us? Mr. Crawford, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We've got you now.
Okay.
If you can just say your name and your home address for us.
Sure. Dale Crawford, actually owner of 101 Person Street. And, of course, I'd like to thank the mayor and the council for being allowed to speak. What I'd like to talk about is the cell tower near 101 Person. I represent a number of concerned organizations and individuals. In violation of City Historic Commission and UDO regulations, the city's allowing construction of a cell tower near 101 Person Street. Due to the time limitations, the fact that the city did not respond to an information request until about 3 o'clock today, I can't provide all the details on this issue. However, for the record, as an owner, we never received any notices over the period of 3 years of public hearings as related to the Historic Commission meetings. As far as dates, on June 27, 2018, Fiber Technology filed a COA application for 4 light poles with small cell antennas. One was listed as a 29 Market Street. On July 27, 2018, a CO was issued that stated to install and replace 4 new light poles with small cell antennas. It was listed across the Market House. Of note, the UDO indicates the COA expires in 1 year. On June 25, 2019, an application was heard for 101 Person Street. The commission voted that the applicant submit alternate locations. However, a month later, on June 22, 2019, 101 Person Street was removed from the application. Then on April 2020 of this year, an excavation permit was issued for 101 Person Street when they do not have a valid COA. As far as any findings of facts that was contained in the city staff reports throughout this process was related to lighting and not a cell tower. For example, the guidelines stated to preserve and maintain light fixtures that contributed to the character of the district. It said select new street and site lighting that maintains the visual character of the district. However, it did not state anything about cell tower poles. During the HRC meeting, staff generally stated that HRC cannot object to the pole locations for the Telecom Act. However, that statement gives a false impression because the FCC regulations actually state that they recognize the benefits of the environment and historic properties while reducing the need for potential intrusive new construction and safeguarding the values the rules are designed to protect. They also state that new structures destroy or adversely modify critical habitats that may affect district sites and buildings that are listed on the National Register. There again, there is provision in the Telecom Act that protect historic structures and districts. Of course, due to the significant inconsistencies and void of the COA, we request that the tower at 101 Person Street not be constructed, and we appreciate being allowed to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford.
No, we do not have any further speakers.
All right, just for my clarification, Mr. Manager, is this an item that has come to us? I don't recall.
We'll be happy to give you some additional information that we shared with Mr. Crawford earlier today.
Okay. All right, public hearing. Individuals desiring to speak at the public hearing must have signed up to speak with the city clerk by name and address before 7 p.m. this evening. 15 minutes will be allowed for each side of the issue at the public hearing. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each unless a previous arrangement and a single spokesperson is designated, in which case the spokesperson may use the entire 15 minutes. When the city clerk calls your name, please understand you'll be acknowledged over the phone. Clearly state your name and address for the record. You may then address the city council. When the light turns from green to amber, that means you have 30 seconds remaining, and at the end of your allotted time, the timer will ring. With that, I'll give way to Mr. Gibson.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This is a culmination of about a year and a half worth of work. It's our new 10-year master plan, giving the public the ability to have some say-so or give their opinion on what's going on in the book. We look forward to hearing all the public hearings information, and after that, we look for adoption. Thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor's just stepped out and he'll be right back. So I guess we're ready for the public hearing. And do I have something up here I need to read?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That would be great.
I don't have the statement with me. I have five speakers, 4 in favour and 3 in opposition, and each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes.
Okay, so I guess we can go ahead with the first speaker. Yeah, do we need, are they here or are they on Zoom?
They're all on Zoom, and
Okay.
they don't need to be sworn in.
All
Okay. Our first speaker is Mr. Ted Fujimoto.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Hope you can hear me. Yes, sir. Okay, my name is Ted Fujimoto, and I live at 712 Roundtree Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina. I'm speaking here as an avid pickleball player, and I'm here to speak about the sport because looking at the 2020 Parks and Recreation Master Plan, I see it listed near the bottom. I know that is because of the low response to the survey. Many in our pickleball community said they didn't see the survey. I know that's not an excuse, but I know our numbers are definitely more than 13 that responded. I have an email distribution list that I use to put out information to those that have used our Fayetteville pickleball facilities. Currently, I have 149 people on it. Some are from out of state and some have left the area, but around 100 have played within the last year before the pandemic started. People that have left want to be kept on the list because pickleball is a social sport and you make friends for life. A little bit about the sport. It is a combination of badminton, tennis, and table tennis played on a badminton-sized court. It is played with a paddle and a wiffle ball type ball. It's an easy sport to play. It involves low impact exercise, socialization, and it's fun. It started in 1965 in Washington State in someone's driveway. By 1990, it was being played in all 50 states. In 2005, USA Pickleball Association was created. This started the real growth of the sport. In 2008, there were about 420 places to play on the USA Pickleball site. Now there are nearly 8,500 places. Fayetteville is on the list also. Also, there are currently 3.3 million players, an increase of nearly 10% a year. It is now played in 27 countries. That is why, as Mayor Pro Tem Jensen mentioned in a recent newspaper article, that pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America. We want Fayetteville to be part of that growth. Pickleball started here in November 2012 at Hope Mills Rec Center. We started playing at Myers Rec Center in 2015. I started bugging Mr. Gibson about 4 years ago, and now we have outdoor facilities at Rowan Park and Massey Hill Park. There are also now outdoor courts at Eastover. And we also use
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. So Mr. Gibson is chuckling with the pickleball comment. All right. Now, Madam Clerk.
Our next speaker is Mr. Joseph Kanowitz.
Good evening, and thank you, Mayor and council members. My name is Joseph Kananowitz. I live at 605 Glensford Drive. My concern is I think it's a good plan for the Parks and Rec, but like in Montclair here, we have the Montclair Elementary School, and they have linked the schoolyard and everything. So they have the school ground, the playground is listed as park, but it is restricted. It is locked up. The school board system has said we live in a high crime area, which I'm surprised. I think a lot of you will question that. But, you know, when I first moved here 20 some odd years ago, I picked Montclair because it had sidewalks. It was a beautiful place. It had a school with a playground. Before they widened Glensford Drive, there used to be a lot of people that used to go to the playground, sit there and have it. There was hardly any trouble there. You know, occasionally it happens. But I really enjoy having Parks and Rec. I think the city should have more parks, more recreation. I look across from BJ's in that big area where they cut down all the trees, and I can see a New York Central Park going in there. You know, with a little pond, hills, and grassland for people to picnic on. I think we can have a great park system, but I think the county school system is trying to block that. That is my concern. That we have a dishonest member in the county school system where it's going to be listed as park land, but it's not going to be access to the public, and that is really my concern. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. Phil Harris.
Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris, can you hear us?
Good evening. My name is Phil Harris, Jr., 324 Devon Street, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Good evening. I usually come to you as the Red Cross guy, and I'm not coming today, but I'm coming as a citizen, and I hope that we can skip hurricane season, and I won't have to come before you, but I am coming as a avid pickleball player, and I know that gets a lot of chuckles out of people, but as Mr. Fujimoto said, it is the fastest growing sport, and it's definitely a community. And I just joined a year ago, and it creates a sense of community among us. We are social together. It's exercise, it's competition, but I congratulate you on the forward thinking of the master plan, but I don't think the work is done yet on what we've done previously. We talked about Rowan Park and the great skateboard park, and but the pickleball piece of that has gotten lost. That I was there today, 30 or so people were skateboarding, but nobody was pickleball playing because you have to park 200 yards from the site. You've got to walk through a mud puddle. There are no lighting. When we have time change, there are going to be safety issues. And then they're lined out nicely, but you have to run 40 feet for your ball. So I don't think pickleball is understood in Fayetteville. And my take on it, it's an economic development issue. The community of pickleball has tournaments. We went to Selma, North Carolina, little town of Selma, 144 participants. We took 16 people there and won medals in every category. My wife went with me. We shopped. We ate lunch. We had a good day. And I think Fayetteville could do that with the right facilities, bringing tournaments to our community. It's a sport for everyone. It's a sport for life. And I think it can coexist with tennis. I know there are a lot of plans for tennis. I was a tennis player. You can basically with temporary nets put two pickleball courts on a tennis court. And so we appreciate what the Parks and Rec's done so far. Monique at the Myers Rec Center has been more than accommodating, but as we go into a COVID environment, outside's the only place to play right now. And so we need some support and in the ongoing budget, and then anything planned for the future. So thank you for your support, and I think you'll see the big growth in pickleball in Fayetteville.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Mayor, our next speaker is Miss Shannon Ward.
Ms. Ward, are you there? Ms. Ward, can you hear us? Hello, Ms. Ward? Is she on mute?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Oh, wait, we've got you now. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and address for us.
My name is Shannon Ward, and I'm a 15-year resident of the Montclair neighborhood. Do I need to give my exact address? I have some privacy concerns about doing that.
No, that's okay.
Okay. So I too, like Joseph Kananowicz, have lived in Montclair for some time, and in November of last year, I spoke with several people from Parks and Rec to find out about what we could do to get some public access to areas in the Montclair neighborhood. And I was told that the school counts as our park. But we don't have access to the park at the school. And in fact, Glenn Gem called them recently and spoke to a Mr. Perez in safety and security at Cumberland County Schools. And Mr. Perez told him that all the schools in Cumberland County would be fenced off as funds are available. And that Montclair was one of the first due to the high crime rate and bad activity in the area. So even though it seems that Parks and Rec seems to think that we have access to park areas in the neighborhood, we actually do not. And I also want to mention that we do have many vacant lots in the neighborhood that I would really like to see converted into public spaces, especially in the wake of Hurricane Matthew. We had so many problems with flooding that after that, we had a lot of blight move into the neighborhood. And I know on my street, a house had to be torn down due to mold. And the vacant lots just become overgrown and they're an eyesore. And those would be excellent spaces to convert into things like community gardens or small play areas where people could gather, and perhaps we could have communication boards and things of that nature. Since I do have a minute left, I want to mention that in addition to having a lot of concerns about not having access to park spaces, I also have a lot of concerns about the stormwater infrastructure in the neighborhood. We have had consistent problems with flooding that have seemed to have gotten worse after 2014, when the major construction project with the Glensford Road expansion was completed. Since then, I've seen the floodwater come up to my house several times. And in fact, in Hurricane Matthew, my crawl space was flooded. And my neighbors to the left and right weren't so lucky. Their actual houses were flooded because they didn't have raised foundations. So I have real concerns about things like relaxing the stormwater requirements, which is something that has been discussed recently. I would like to speak out against relaxing those requirements due to the fact that the Montclair neighborhood on the Rayford Road corridor is having so many significant problems with flooding. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you.
Mayor, our final speaker is Ms. Quonsandine Hensel Gribble.
Ms. Quonsandine, can you state your name and address for us? You said you're trying to get her on? Oh, okay.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yes, ma'am. How you doing? Yes, we can hear you. Please state your name and address for us.
Yes, good evening. Quonsandine Henson Gribble, 6129 Louise Street, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28314.
Thank you.
Yes, this evening, my concerns are the existing park improvements in reference to the Parks and Recreation Bond that was approved on March 15, 2016 for $35 million. I'm an avid tennis player. And what I've noticed over time is that the tennis courts are going downhill faster and faster, and it's causing us not to be able to play safe tennis, starting with the benches that I've requested Mr. Michael Gibson to remove, which he did. And to be replaced now, that's another question. Money, when we talk about existing park improvements, we're also talking about things that help us out there on the parks. The benches, like I stated, that were a hazard that Mr. Michael Gibson did have removed. But more than that are the tennis courts itself. Over an 8-year period, I have not seen any of the courts at Masrick Park be corrected or fixed. And like I said, I'm out there 3 or 4 times a week playing tennis. So I want to know, out of the $35 million for the Parks and Recreation Bond that was passed March 5th, 2016, out of the $35 million on the project timeline, and I'm looking at 2018 as the first item as existing park improvements, where does Masrick Park rank, and how much money has been spent on Masrick Park, the tennis courts improvements? Because we desperately need improvements out there yesterday. And I also want to know how much money is left in the budget, because I can't understand why we can't get a simple thing like benches replaced. Now, like I said, Michael Gibson, whenever I call him, he does get things done within his power. But it seems like right now there isn't any left. So I want to know what's draining the money for the existing park improvements, and where are we on Masrick Park tennis improvements?
Thank
you there?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Gribble. We are not responding during the public hearing.
Okay.
We'll close it and we'll try to address some of your questions. So we're taking notes, myself and other council members. So we'll get some answers for you.
Okay, thank you so very much. And I also appreciate you, Mayor Mitch Colvin, for doing the proclamation for Veteran Suicide Prevention Month. A copy of the proclamation was received by President Donald Trump.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
May we have no further speakers?
All right, so with that, we will close the public hearing. Mr. Gibson, you've got several questions.
My light is on.
All right, so before I go to Councilman Haire, I think he was first, then Mayor Pro Tem, and then Ms. Ingram and Ms. Kinston. I wanted to ask you something. Can you clarify the operating agreement between Parks and Rec and the schools, number one?
It's a school use agreement, and what it is once the schools are finished using the facilities, then Parks and Rec gets to use them. One of the things that you're having now is with this safety concern. I don't know if you've been to schools lately, but having access to schools now is one way. They're putting up fences around all of the schools so that people just can't walk off the street and walk into the back of a school. One of the things that we're doing with the Montclair School is we're working with the safety security officer to fence off the area where people would have the ability to access the school during any time during the day, and then fence off an area where we can turn into a park area so that the citizens can use it. So that's what we're working on now. But they have a safety security methodology that they're using that they have to secure the school. So until we get all of that done, then having access for the Montclair area in that 3 to 4 acre area is not going to happen right away, but we're working on that. I told Ms. Kinston that we'll have an answer for her hopefully by the end of the month in November, but we're diligently working on it right now.
But it's something that you have to work with the school board because
Yes.
they own the.
Well, you don't have to work with, we don't have to work with the school board. We're working with the safety security officer.
Of the school.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
But we'll get it straightened out. They're just a little delayed in fixing every one of the schools, so people just can't walk into it.
Yeah.
So we're going to fix that. We'll have this one done. We're doing a couple other ones that they didn't do, so we're waiting on them so that this public can have that access.
All right, last thing that I had, tennis.
Yes, sir.
Was the lack of upgrades to the Magic Park tennis site because we are about to rebuild and do the tennis complex in that area? Is that?
There's two answers to that.
Okay.
And you're right, that's one. We're getting ready to spend $6 million on brand new tennis center. And the manager has given us the ability to use the unfunded money to come back to you guys in November with some ideas of how we need to upgrade some of our other facilities. So that could be on the list.
Because I get a lot of calls about that.
It is-
lights to gates being open.
Let me tell you something. It is a problem. There's no doubt about it. That's why we're spending $6 million on a new tennis center.
And last question, will that be the only tennis site in the city? So if I lived in West Fayetteville, I've got to come all the way across town to play tennis?
No, because if you're in West Fayetteville, you could go to Westover High School and use their tennis court. You can go over to 71st and use their tennis court. You just have to let us know so that then we can facilitate that for you.
So it's just not open for use. I have to set up an appointment to use?
Right, because you're going on school property. Okay. So now during the summertime, it's
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So I'll go to, who was first? Councilman Haire.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Gibson, I'm going to start off with the easy one. I got
right
two questions. I assume I got 2 rounds here and 2 questions with the mayor. So I'm going to give you the most easy one first. I received a call today from my community watch leader that spoke tonight, Mr. Fujimoto, about pickleball. Never had really heard much about it, so I researched it. And I went online and pulled it up, and I said, oh, that's a little bit like tennis, you know. I said, I probably could do that, you know, if I don't have to run around out there. As I looked at your statistical valid survey, if this is meaning people, it has the number 13 beside it. First, is that meaning people? I mean, what's that? What those numbers mean?
That's what.
Is this what you received back on the survey?
That's what. No, that's where I think I don't have it in front of me, but I think that's where it ranked as far as where the people who said something about it.
Yeah, because it's 1, 2, well, it's
But
about
now
5 or 6 from the bottom.
But let me put your mind at ease. One of the things that we're doing with the new tennis center is we're incorporating pickleball courts in the new tennis center.
I hope those 149 people that Mr. Fujimoto spoke about tonight are listening. So we are incorporating
Yes, sir.
in our Masoret Park a new facility, our how much?
$6 million.
$6 million project will be an area there for pickleball.
Yes, sir.
Is it 1 court, 2 courts, or?
I think it's 3 courts right now.
Okay, it's going to be 3 courts.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
okay. Now, my next question is this. I went all through this, all the way through all of your items in the presentation, and not pointed at you, because I always complain about the MLK Park. So it's not, but we're getting ready to spend the $6 million on the tennis court. I
Yes, sir.
understand that, and all the other great things we have been doing for our citizens. But I cannot get a bathroom, a bench, okay? Things that we can do for the citizens. I can't keep the grass cut there at the Washington Drive area. I get all kind of excuses, environmental, and just a number of issues that I get about that area from there all the way around to the MLK statue. Council, I need some help. We need some funding for the park, just for those little small things, maybe a bathroom, maybe a bench or two. If maybe someone is driving through just wants to sit down and just enjoy peace and quiet, because it's in a peaceful kind of area. That is something I'm asking for once more. Hopefully that out of whatever the budget amount may be left, that we can do something for the MLK community. Once again, I'm asking for that, and I know that the support for that comes from around this diocese. So those of you around this diocese and our chairman of our Parks and Rec, once again, I'm asking for support for the Martin Luther King Jr. Park, which is not new. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and I think we had $100,000 allocated for that.
It's
So
still
what's
there.
the problem?
Right, yeah,
No,
we
it's
got
still there.
100,000. I mean,
What's the problem?
No, we're waiting for them to come back to council so they can tell us how they want that spent.
So
yeah,
you've already
but
got the help.
okay, I feel you. I understand the 100,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm a big fighter for the MLK. You're not telling me anything I don't know. Before we had that, we had earmarked $500,000 many years ago. Now we all the way down to 100,000. Okay, so I understand what's going on. What my question is, what is the step? Is all of the jurisdiction fall up under the MLK committee?
Currently, that's the way it is.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Council. Mayor Pro Tem.
Good evening, Mr. Gibson. How are you?
I'm well.
So, here we are. So I'm going to ask a few questions just so we can kind of go of how we've gone through everything. So I guess my question is, we did get the question answered about the pickleball, and we decided when we put the skateboard up, skateboard park at Rowan Street Park, that we took the old tennis courts and made them pickleball courts because it is growing.
Yes.
And we knew that we had to do something and to keep the pickleball community knowing that we cared and that we were moving about it. So the public does know that we are having more pickleball courts coming to our $6 million tennis center that we are starting, and that hopefully by the end of the year, we will see the renderings of what our new tennis center is going to look like, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So just for our audience to know that Mr. Gibson knows and the council knows how much pickleball is a growing sport. And we tried to do some low-hanging fruit to get people in a way. And I appreciate all the things that they told us from the skateboard park. So, you know, it's a process, and we're starting our process with pickleball. So I am going to go and talk about tennis courts.
Okay.
So tennis courts at schools. So we know that Terry Sanford and Cape Fear has lighted tennis courts.
Yes. Well, Terry Sanford doesn't have them now. They tore them down because they're doing the reconstruction.
Okay.
So they're not there now.
So that makes more sense to me why that we are getting the phone calls for tennis, because when Masaryk, they were going to Terry Sanford, and you could drive by there at any time and it was full.
Yes.
And then they took down the ones over there near Owen Drive.
Yes.
So Cape Fear has lighted tennis courts. So is that the only high school in Fayetteville that has lighted tennis courts?
No, ma'am. There are a couple more. 71st has lighted courts.
Okay.
And I can't think of the other ones. I'm not sure if Westover has them or not. But I'd have to check and make sure.
Okay, so what we know now is that 71st has lighted courts.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Cape Fear has lighted courts.
Yeah,
We know
definitely.
that Pine Forest has a tennis court that does not have lighted courts, and we think that maybe Westover doesn't have lighted courts.
I don't think that Westover.
I don't think
but
that
I'll have
they
to
do.
verify everything.
I
Even
don't think they
71st, I'm
do.
thinking about it now, and I might be thinking about the baseball fields.
I don't think they have
Yeah, I
lighted.
don't think so.
So I think the only lighted courts right now that we have are at Cape Fear.
Yes.
So my question is.
Well, and we have Arnett Park.
And we have Arnett Park.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then my question is
Masaryk not.
is it open is Cape Fear open to the public at night to play tennis?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is the one school that is open, that if somebody wants to go, they can go to Cape Fear High School and go play tennis.
Yes, ma'am.
And how late do those lights stay on?
Well, it depends on who's out there, because we control them through the phone.
Okay.
So normally they go off around 10 o'clock.
They go off around 10 o'clock.
Mhm.
Okay, so we do have that section for
Right.
people to go. And at the Terry Sanford area, are they going to put lights back up, or is that done deal?
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They'll put them back up.
Okay, do we have any idea when that will be?
No, I mean, I drove by there the other day, and they're focused on the football field.
And I understand that. I understand that. I guess the question is, it's all starting to come together because we haven't been doing the work that we needed to be doing at Masaryk Park, because we don't want to
Right.
put money into it when we're just going to tear it back up. I
Now,
understand.
and Masaryk is lit too now.
It is lit.
Yeah,
Okay.
Masaryk Park is lit too.
And it stays open till what time?
Right now till 9.
Till 9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I guess then I'm going to go back to Montclair.
Mm-hmm.
Is that lighted, that area?
No, ma'am, it's not. The outdoor area that's next to the school, the big green area, is not lit.
So was it being used a lot before COVID, and I guess before the school system decided to lock everything down?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
They had access to it. They did.
They had access, and it seems like the people from Montclair were using it quite a bit.
Yeah, they were.
Okay, so I guess my question is, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, should we look at getting that park lit? Because is there a park around there other than that school park?
Well, one of the things that we don't do is all parks are supposed to close at dusk.
Correct?
So there would be no need to have it lit, because you're
Okay.
not supposed to be there after dark.
Okay,
So that's all of our parks.
I understand that, other than the tennis courts.
Exactly. And we do that based in the summertime so you can play a little longer.
Okay. So, all right, those are my questions about the tennis.
And the Montclair community, have legitimate concerns.
Right.
It's just working through that safety concern that they have to pay attention to, and we'll get through it.
And I understand that, because I do know that through the schools, that when they were built, the way they explained it to me, schools were built so if there was a fire, children could get out in all sorts of ways. And now they want to keep children in and lock, so people can't come in. So there's different exits all over schools. So now it's Montclair's turn to learn how to.
And we'll get it done. It's just a matter of working, getting them comfortable, and then getting the funding to go ahead and build a little park.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor Colvin. Hi, Mr. Gibson, how are you?
Hello.
So I got a few. I'm gonna try to zip straight through it. I do want to first provide some, I guess, clarity about the MLK Park. And I'm only speaking from experience, because I spend a lot of time at the MLK Park practicing yoga.
Yes,
So I will say, every time that I go there, the grass is cut. However, it is the vacant properties which are being unkept. And so maybe that's a code enforcement issue. However, I do support the fact that there may need to be some benches. But from my understanding from its inception of the MLK Park, it was served to be a reflection space. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. They did not want it to be a park.
Who did not want that?
The MLK committee.
The MLK committee. So what we probably need to do is entertain a conversation to say, this is what we're thinking. Will you support this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So moving on, and I'm going to now talk about tennis courts. So when I look at the, and as a tennis player, let me throw that out there. When I look at Fayetteville and starting out playing tennis at Fayetteville State at a young age by way of Mr. James A. Scurry, I come back home and I see people still play tennis, right? But I have concern as to how we jump forward to building a tennis center and not doing upkeep to the ones that are currently being used. That kind of puts our people at a disadvantage because it's like, oh, okay, we have all these needs, but let's just build a new tennis center. And that's going to take a while. So I'm not understanding why we would just jump and not even do upkeep at home first. My second concern is, why are we not proposing anything that includes basketball?
Well, one of the things that happened about 6 years ago on council, there was an effort to do more basketball courts in the communities. So what we've done is gone to the school system and all of their outdoor basketball courts that they have at the school, we've refurbished some of them, and we've put up basketball goals at the school system so that the kids are in their own neighborhoods and they can, where is it? Sherwood Park is one. I can't think of the other one. Douglasburg, we have another one over there. Westover High School, we have another one over there. So we've spread out that basketball playing in the communities instead of trying to have one central area where kids have to come to one area. They can stay in their communities. So we have had an emphasis on having outdoor basketball courts over the past 6 years.
Okay, and so to follow that part up, I just want to make it known because this is what the master plan says. It says that basketball is a national trend.
Oh, yeah.
And is very popular amongst golf and tennis.
Oh, yeah.
So I would also like to see moving forward, hopefully there at least be some form of basketball center, hopefully, but I also was hoping to see a split between the tennis and basketball since we were proposing so many tennis sites. I would like, some mixture, diverse. My final thing is, can you give an update on Senior Center West?
We've been working with the architect firm H&H. They've been doing a great job. We've sort of scrubbed it as hard as we could, and I think we're going to come back with some very good numbers and get that thing built.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Kinston. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Councilmember Kinston.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, thank you so much for all the hard work that you've done with our conversation with Montclair. I know I have really worked you on calling in questions, but they really do appreciate.
And they deserve that, so we're going to get it straight.
Thank you so much. The other question or comment that I want to mention is on dog parks.
Yes, ma'am.
If you can just give us brief information about dog parks. It's listed in the statistical as 69. So I just wanted to, if you can give us a brief overview.
We have an update coming to the manager in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. If he's comfortable with what he sees, then hopefully we'll come to a work session and get that done.
Okay, thank you. Mayor, that's my final question.
Thank you so much, madam. Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to ask you a couple of questions pertaining to the basketball as well. I'm looking at the statistical survey. Here you have, it doesn't say basketball. I mean, you have a lot of other things here, picnic shelters even outranks the basketball, dog parks, pier fishing, outdoor swimming pools. But nothing about basketball on this particular survey. But it did say multi-use gym space, that ranks 63 in special event rental space. But if you go to the other chart where it says adults and youth, I see for the youth, you do rank basketball along with softball as around 76. But I would echo also the concerns of basketball because it ranks really high around the nation, but we're not really looking at that. I mentioned it several years ago about a multi-facility use for tournaments, for basketball tournaments, and what really excited me about that, my grandson plays basketball for AUA, AAU, and we drove all the way to Virginia to see him play on Virginia Beach, and the facility there was one facility. It had about 13 to 15 whole courts inside one facility, and I talked to the director there. Very, very nice facility. People from all over the region would come, and it's a really, really big money maker. It's a very, it impacts economics for that region very, very seriously. So it's a money maker for any place. So I was looking here in our city, and I think we talked about this, about a facility that could house several several whole courts that we can hold tournaments and be a destination for people instead of us leaving out all across the East Coast to see our children play, to travel, the hotels, and all the rest, restaurants, that we would do that. And I think we talked about that to some extent. Comment on that a little bit.
Well, I mean, when you're talking about a multi-facility that can hold 4 or 5 different full-length basketball courts, the square footage is huge.
Right.
Putting a facility like that together, it's millions of dollars.
Right.
It to me would have to be something, in my opinion, that would have to be a collaborative effort for the community. And most of the time, these facilities that you see in these major cities, it is a collaborative effort from different sources within that community. Us here in Fayetteville trying to do something like that would take a tremendous effort.
What about the county? Did the county?
It's my point.
Collaborative.
Yeah, you'd have to get a huge amount of support to build a facility that would host multiple courts like that.
I think we can do it. If other cities and other areas can do it, I think we can too. I think the need is there, the effort is there. I think the desire is there, but we have not focused on it like I think the need is. I mean, we're focusing on everything else. We're focusing on every other sport, but we're not giving basketball its due just. I mean, it's a international sport.
Yes, sir, it is.
And I'm wondering why. Why are we allowing this to not be a focus point for our region?
I understand.
We could let us be the leaders in that here in Fayetteville.
Yes, sir.
In Cumberland County.
Thank you, Councilman Wright. Councilman Dawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Gibson. I appreciate you working closely with the Cumberland County Schools. That matters. Our Parks and Rec system with the county is a bright spot for our community. It shows where the city and the county can work together. I wanted, there's a couple of, actually 3 citizens that I recognize. Colonel retired Ted Fujimoto, one great American Vietnam veteran. Thrilled he is involved in pickleball, and I'm thrilled with the Parks and Rec bond chair, Mayor Pro Tem Jensen, for her effort on pickleball and listening. And that's the one thing I want to applaud our staff on, is listening to our citizens. Of course, Phil Harris also involved in pickleball. I did want to ask you about Constantine Gribble, her situation about benches. I'm hoping that our budget for benches is not in any way attached to any of our Parks and Rec master plan, that we have a plan to replace benches.
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, all right, thank you. Also, I appreciate you clarifying about Coach Gil Bowman. The tennis complex at Terry Sanford is going to have lights. I've gotten 2 calls. Folks are very concerned that lights were going to go up. Would you confirm that lights?
I will. They just, when they did the demo, they just pulled them up and laid them to the side.
And so they're redoing lights. See, and I would like to see you continue to work with Montclair, but we got to be careful about the citizens, because these things with lights, the lights are going to be shining in their homes. So we've got to make sure that we've got deflection and everything else going on. I used to represent that area, Council Lady Kinston. That's why I wanted to mention Montclair. You got some great Americans over there. Okay, now tell me about how the courts can be reserved. You talked about 70, the mayor asked you about 71st, and then you mentioned that courts can actually be reserved. Is that where someone can go online?
Well, once we start back up.
Or are you talking about getting out of the Wuhan COVID and going hopefully back to normal life?
Yes, sir.
Wow, I look forward.
Those school parks, we have several of them, and they've always been used. And we've always facilitated the use of softball fields, football fields, tennis courts. We just need to know. We have center staff that works in those areas, so they would just go to the rec center, then the center staff, because we hire school staff to make sure that people have access to the schools. Even the gyms, when we're in our normal operations, we hire school staff so that people would have access to the schools.
All right.
So we it's not as comfortable as it used to be.
Understand. Last question. We've had an issue with Masrick Park for many years, being a heavily forested area. Folks doing things not appropriate, finding, drug paraphernalia, this sort of thing.
Yes, sir.
So I'm assuming that when we add to the number of courts there, well, they got maybe 4 right now. We're going to go to 6 or 8.
No, sir. There are 8 out there now.
There are 8 out there now.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness gracious, it's been 30 years since I played there. Okay, so we're going to just resurface those, or
Yes,
we're going?
sir.
Okay.
Well, here's the ideal plan. Once the new tennis center goes into construction and we get that to a place where we believe that we'll be opening it soon, then you would take your assets that you have now and then you would refurbish those assets to make sure, because there's no need to build 14 new ones and then let the 8 that
Gotcha.
you have. So we would just sort of transition from our new and then come back and resurface like we've done before. We've resurfaced the courts at Madrick twice in my tenure.
Okay.
So
You've been here how long?
30 years.
30?
Yes, sir.
Goodness gracious, you were just out of high school. Last question, I'm assuming we're going to thin out some trees, because, obviously, what I want is to try to open it up some so that we don't have the paraphernalia and other.
We need to get you down there because we've opened it up tremendous.
Okay, all right,
Yes.
I need to do
That's
that.
why
But that's Councilmember Haire's area. I'll work it to be with Councilmember Haire and get a tour.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbs. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Davis.
I'm good, Mr. Mayor. Good work, Mr. Gibson.
Thank you.
You good, sir? Okay. All right. Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor. Before
Again.
I move to motion, well, see?
I'm just playing.
Okay. I did have one final ask. And as we saw, and I wasn't here with the last master plan, however, it was a lot of, for what I guess citizens would feel, a lot of politics being played with quality of life, right? Just asking for simple quality of life. And so what my ask is, is give me some assurance that, and I'm not going to go into specifics because I don't need to, give me some assurance that when we start to move forward with this master plan, that we are really taking account into our citizens' needs and concerns. And not to say that you don't, but as citizens feel with the last master plan, they feel that they were somewhat cheated, used, and other things. So I just want to make sure that we are in a time where people want to see things done in an equitable manner. They want to see it done in a fairness manner, right? We have parks that had not been touched since its inception, and some communities feel that they have been forgotten about. So my ask is, give me some assurance that that is how we're moving forward. And, this is not going to turn into another politics game of who gets what.
Right.
Okay, and then after that, I'll make a motion.
I don't know if I can talk about politics. I can tell you from a professional standpoint, my staff looks at every community as having value. So as far as making sure that we are equitable across this community, I can promise you that we will be equitable across this community.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for letting the citizens know that. Mayor
No, we still have other discussion.
Huh?
I still have other discussion. Yeah. Councilmember Banks?
Okay,
McLaughlin?
thank you, Mayor. Quick question. Now, I know we're experienced with the COVID, schools, most of the schools are out. How are we getting this information out to the public? I know we usually have our activity guides, and by the recreation centers and schools being closed, how are we pushing that information out so that our citizens are aware with everything that we have to offer as far as the different parks, the basketball courts, the tennis?
Well, right now, the basketball courts are not in function. We've taken down the goals over the past couple of months, so they're not in function.
Okay, well, what as far as the trails?
That we have pushed that out through all of our media, that the trails, and I would tell you, I don't think there's a trail that this community doesn't know that's open, because it is unbelievable. So people know, I mean, because we're the last opportunity for them to get out of the house and do something.
And not only our citizens, but also tourists and people that come in just visiting in town.
Our website is what we use. Our TV7 is how we push things out. We have our, what do you call the thing, our web blast that we use so that our people who have signed up and used our services before, we send out that information. Communities can also access their rec centers through the web.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gibb.
Thank you, and before we go, hopefully for a motion to receive this report, because we've had about a good hour presentation, we appreciate it. Speaking of trails, okay, I just want to highlight something. It compared Fayetteville's paved trails to our municipal peers. So Greensboro, 33.4 miles, Wilmington, 28.5 miles, Durham, 31 miles, Fayetteville, 8 miles.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we are significantly behind in paved trails. And I know since I've been here, the only thing I can remember us doing is the Cape Fear River Trail, which was coming in because of state grants. Anything embedded in the city's plan to invest in its own trails, or, you know, I've hit on greenways for a time or two.
Well, we have a greenways master plan. Funding for those greenways normally comes from FAMPO or through NCDOT. We've done some upgrades with the Linear Park Trail, Blunt's Creek Trail, but for the most part, we're working on the Big Cross Creek Trail that goes all the way up to Smith Lake. We're doing that study now and getting those prepared. The Little Cross Creek Trail, we've gotten some funding for that to come to the downtown area. But getting funding for trails, because they're millions and millions of dollars. So we just have to continue to put in our grants, be as aggressive as we can to make sure that we have ready to go, shovel-ready projects. That's one of the biggest deals that they always want, is you need to have something sitting on the shelf so when there's funds available, you can pull it off the shelf and get it out and get it funded. So we're working on those ideas now.
Gotcha. All right, Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Gibson. I would like to make a motion to receive the Parks and Rec Master Plan for adoption.
All right, there's a motion by Councilmember Ingram. There's a second by Councilmember Wright. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, look to you for your votes. Councilman Wright. All right, Madam Clerk, it's unanimous by those present.
Thank you.
Council, let's take us about a 7-minute break.
No, the Steelers are.
All right, council, we will call our meeting back to order. If council members can make their way back. We have additional item left, 2 items left. So we'll move to item 9.01, solid waste and service levels. Ms. Umbat, how are you?
Not tall enough. Is that right? So, good evening, Mayor and Council. The purpose today is to discuss, recommend, and receive direction from the Mayor and the City Council to clearly define solid waste division service expectations and service limits per revision of the solid waste ordinance. What we need from you today is Council's direction on what is the appropriate level of service or service expectation in 2 broad areas. The first being collections and carts, and the second, customers. Based on Council's input today, in the forthcoming months, we will make ordinance amendments which we will bring back to Council for adoption in August 2021. In parallel, we intend to embark on a robust education and enforcement program. The first primary recommendation today is to limit collections and to implement and enforce a solid waste fee system that charges for the collection of solid waste from a residential customer based on the volume of waste collected after it exceeds a minimum threshold. Currently, solid waste fees are not being fairly applied to residential customers. People who produce little municipal solid waste are required to pay the same amount as everyone else. With limiting collections and enforcement of a fee system, customers who produce more pay more. Low volume users will no longer subsidize those who generate higher volumes of trash. The second primary recommendation is to begin to require and enforce call-in scheduling for all solid waste collections after it exceeds a minimum threshold. Unplanned, unsystematic placement of non-regular loads results in disorder and inefficiency. The third recommendation is to define and clarify our customers. It's important to note that all these recommendations already exist in our ordinance. By this presentation, we are simply bringing it to your forefront and requesting your support to make some revisions to the ordinance language itself that will make it consistent. Perhaps most importantly, and the crux of our presentation today, is that the success of our recommendations rests in our ability to educate and enforce as necessary. We seek your support in our recommendation for enforcement. In order to develop an effective solid waste enforcement program, it is essential that the City Council members and senior level management within the city be 100% committed to the enforcement program. It is also important that the citizens and the staff understand that the elected officials and senior management are 100% behind the program. With this, I will turn the floor over to Assistant Director, Mr. Daniel Edwards. We will both be here to answer any questions following our presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager, and everyone else. First, I want to thank everyone that helped us put this presentation together. We want to start you off at the background. How did we get to where we are right now? Solid Waste Division has been experiencing issues from the ambiguity in the solid waste ordinance. That ambiguity has been giving us issues with inconsistency with the application of service. There's not consistent service based off the ordinance. In fall 2019, our audit department conducted an evaluation to determine if the city's solid waste fee was assessed in accordance with the guidelines. And the audit found that revenue relating to the residential solid waste fee could not be measured. And the big reason behind why it couldn't be measured was the ordinance. The city code of ordinance in chapter 22 is not clear, and it's just too much to interpret. Our solid waste expenditures continue to rise. And so we need to build something that is going to help us level this off. This is a slide that you've seen before during budget season. And I love this quote. It says, Fayetteville is the only city where you can put your items to the curb and becomes the city of Fayetteville's responsibility and not the residents themselves. When you look at the city of Fayetteville, we check off all the boxes. We don't have limited service. We don't have a time where we only pick up certain items a couple times a year. We don't have these type of services here. We collect all the time, and we're going to show you exactly how much we collect moving forward. These are the areas that we're going to discuss today in collections. So we're just going to go on a little trip. For household and yard waste, this is the area that we collect routine cyclical operations. Efficiency can only be achieved if movements are standard. You notice that collections for household, we collect about 61,000 homes a week, which is about over 3 million homes a year, which when you combine household and yard waste together, it's over 6 million. That's household and yard waste that we collect consistently, routinely. And you're going to see the difference when we talk about bulky and yard waste. We're recommending, because of unlimited household collections and because of overweight bags and other issues that we're having, that we collect up to 2 96-gallon carts a week per resident, and then provide an option with permission after investigation for a third cart if necessary. But we're recommending that we collect no more than 3 carts at a household a week. And for yard waste, which is a little bit more involved, we're recommending that we collect up to 15 containerized bags, containers, carts, and bundles. And the bundles can be no more than 50 pounds each. Now that is how many different ways that our residents can put out yard waste. And that's why this one is a little bit more involved. So if we have 15 combined of carts, containers, bags, and all this stuff at the house, then that gives the yard waste truck the ability to get those 15 and get to the next house and then get to the next house. And that's very important. And bundles is something that's going to be new, and we want the bundles to be 3 feet, 3 inches, which is already in the ordinance, but we want them to be less than 50 pounds. This is just an example of some of the stuff that we come up against. Just want to leave that there for a second. Limbs and bulky. Limbs and bulky is supposed to be scheduled collections. For non-routine operations, efficiency can only be achieved if loads are called in. Scheduled and fees are proportionally to service. Unplanned, unsystematic placement of loads result in disorder and inefficiency. There's no way that we can keep up with just picking up and not knowing where these items are. We have to, and that's the big difference between yard waste in household versus limbs in collection. Yard waste, we know, we go into the houses, it's systematic. Limbs and bulky have to be scheduled. Recommendations. Some of the issues are excessive loads and unscheduled collections. And both of these recommendations for limbs and bulky basically are the same. We're requiring that all items be scheduled. We're asking for enforcement of ordinance for noncompliance. We're also asking to expand the fee schedule for different size loads. And there's some other nuances in there that are different, but that is the foundation of what we need for bulky and limb collections. And this is an example of what we deal with bulky and limbs. And I just want to point out that Brooke is about 7 feet tall. And that is a limb collection that we had to collect kind of right around the corner, and the pile was humongous. And this is another slide that we just want to show you what's in the ordinance already that we're not supposed to be collecting. And my biggest part on this is for bulky and limbs is they both have a limitation of 3 feet high, and that's for safety reasons. And of course, we know some couches and stuff can be over 3 feet, but if you continue to pile on them, like what happens, it becomes a safety concern if it falls over and hurts somebody. But we're already collecting tree limbs over 5 feet. We're already collecting limbs greater than 6 inches, and then we're collecting root balls and all these different areas. We want to get back to the ordinance. Our customers, when we decided to go to the enterprise fund, the city went to the county, and the county already had a system that was set up. And so the county's algorithm is what the city uses to define what their customers are. So it's 7 or less units, single-family dwellings, and other different definitions of homes. So that's how we come up with our user fee. We multiply, operations based by what we need, and that's how we come up with those numbers. So we just threw that out there for the education purpose of how did we get to 7 units, because we did it through the county. With council consent, we will define our customer database based off county ordinance. We want to go back to the county ordinance and combine it with our ordinance and bring in some other practical matters or some best practices so that we can better identify units that are paying and should not be paying, not paying and should be paying, or collected and should not be collected, or not collected and should be collected. There's too much out there that has to be figured out for our database. We also want to provide service to customers without doing damage to our equipment. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had to tow a garbage truck off a private road, which cost us money because the road was not up to standard. That's why we want to create alternative collection points for substandard roads and substandard private streets. And we don't want to just do this and just pick and choose who we want to do this for. We want to create a solid waste collections manual to guide that so that my solid waste manager can't say, well, I like Councilman Davis, we're going to go down his street. I don't like Councilman Kinston, I'm not going down her street. It has to be something that's fair for everybody that can last past when we're out of here. We also want to look for more equitable collection areas. Solid waste is a main road industry. So we want to create more collection points on the main road. That way we keep our drivers safe, we keep our vehicles safe, and it's just more equitable for solid waste. We want to refund residents who do not want to bring their refuse to the main streets. We understand that there's some private roads out there that might not want to bring it, then we will refund them their solid waste fee, and they will have to dispose of their refuse the best way they can, because we have to make some changes, and we have to make some changes. So our current ordinance. This is just a snapshot of what our current ordinance says already, and we just put this in here to show you that, as my director has said, a lot of the stuff that we want to do is already in the ordinance. We're just not doing it. We have to redefine some things, but a lot of the wording and a lot of the definition and a lot of the teeth is already there. Education. We want to use education because we know we have to inform the residents of any changes that's going to happen. And we know it can't be today we just say we're going to change it and then tomorrow it's changed. We know this is going to take a process. So we're recommending a campaign, an education campaign before we even get into code enforcement of direct mail, brochures, radio, websites, and social media, City of Fayetteville, areas that we already have of our methods already. So we want to use those and more to get the message out of all the impending changes that we want to make happen. It's very important. We're also getting a firm to come in and help us with this. Now we're going to ask Brooke to come over, and he's going to talk about the code enforcement element of our new plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the RAPID team that you funded in the budget process earlier this year, I brought the purpose statement in to highlight a few things that you see on the Venn diagram in front of you. But this RAPID team is here and being hired right now to provide the city with the ability to address the quality of life issues regarding our residents, surrounding public education of municipal standards, illegal dumping, litter abatement, city policy and procedures, and really using good order to enforce municipal standards across the city. These individuals will be selected very shortly, and we intend to select highly motivated people that have demonstrated the proactive approach to problem solving, customer service, and improving the appearance of the safety. So they're going to allow the city staff to direct resources to a specific problem without diverting operational capacity from standard service provisions. So they're really an extension of code enforcement and municipal waste, allowing them to do surgical touch points with the residents to act as an ombudsman, inform them on the policies and procedures that surround our municipal code, and help them abate the issue, and then continue to escalate force in that process. So if abatement doesn't work through education and helping, then of course they'll go and switch course of action to the code enforcement level, where they would issue a notice of violation and subsequent penalties that come from that. But I stand here today to inform the council about the RAPID team's ability to go directly to the resident and speak to them and inform them how to get their municipal waste picked up by the city the appropriate way, as opposed to the current trend of putting it on the curb and letting it sit there and kind of bugging our operations or bogging our operations down. So the RAPID team is responsible for proactive corridor cleanup, as we've previously discussed, handling citizens' complaints regarding municipal waste and issues, responses to them, the legal proceedings, if any, generate from their code enforcement capability, as well as installing programs and procedures that focus with a community engagement initiative in mind. So as this team progresses and enforces code across the city, continuing to educate our residents and help them understand how to do this correctly, they're also going to pinpoint and try to direct community action with the city in time. It's something that the staff is working on in the background to really make something for those blighted neighborhoods. The philosophy, I'm sorry, let me back up for a second. Yep. The RAPID team additionally leads and organizes these cleanups of many blighted buildings and parcels in the low to moderate income areas. The philosophy of the RAPID team is to address quality of life issues and blight reduction through highly motivated and proactive community engagement, using community data analysis and directed enforcement following creative problem-oriented community engagement strategies. So this team's goal is to improve the safety, the appearance, and the quality of life of the city of Fayetteville. So at the end of the day, when residents have been engaged and educated by the RAPID team, and we're working to clean up our neighborhoods that have a lot of blight in the area, if they're reaching out to the council or they're reaching out to the staff, and they've been engaged by the RAPID, we've gone through echelons of customer service at our best to really inform them and educate them and help them solve the issue first as we go through the transition process of what the solid waste team and the public services department is asking today. Pending your questions, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, we do have a couple questions. Go to Councilman Haire.
We get.
Thank you. You have more? All right. Okay.
That is Brooks' fault. Proposed timeline. We believe these 7 activities have to work in parallel in order to meet our objective, which is to revise the ordinance, education, and enforcement. And all these activities are needed to improve efficiency and effectiveness. So we've given our recommendations, and we just wanted to say that we believe these recommendations with your approval, will help empower the residents, Rapid Team, code enforcement, solid waste, and everyone to eliminate the blight issues and the litter issues and the bulky waste and limb issues that are in the right-of-way. We believe that all this working together will get us to that point. So this purpose was to discuss and recommend and receive direction from the mayor, city council to clearly define solid waste division, service expectations and service limits per revision of the solid waste ordinance. Per your questions.
All right, yes, sir. We do have a few. Start with Councilman Haire.
Thank you, Mayor. Director Ambat and Assistant Director Edwards, thank you for your presentation tonight. I really see us in a work session with these. It's so many. I've got a few questions. I'm going to do my best to try to get them in 2 questions, or 2.5 to 2.9 to 2.10 question. Now, I remember when we were trying to implement many years ago, between 12, 15 years ago, limbs, and if they reached a certain height and length, that we were going to charge for that. I remember when we started that. Are you saying that though the ordinance may be on the books, but we haven't been implementing that? Is that what I'm understanding?
I'm saying it happens sometimes, sir.
So sometimes it's implemented, sometimes it isn't.
Yes, sir.
And who does that fall on?
That falls on, the ordinance does not give us the follow-through. If a resident says, I'm not paying nothing, we can give them a notice of violation. We can even send them a letter. But after that letter, I have no authority.
Okay. Let me ask you this one, because like I said, I see this a detailed work session conversation. Rollouts. I've heard it many times in discussions coming up before us that if the rollouts, the trash cans, the green garbage cans.
Okay, all right.
The rollouts, yes. I don't know what it called from Minnesota, where have you? But the green trash cans, we get the green ones and we have the brown ones.
Yes, sir.
I've heard our department say, if it's there, we're going to empty it. No other city does it like Fayetteville. And I appreciate it, all the citizens, we do appreciate it. But are you saying now, if it passes, whenever we get to the discussion of what is going to be implemented or not, that we are going to just do one domestic rollout per week, along with, I don't know if you're including the recycle and the brown or the yard debris rollout? Are those the 3 you're meaning?
No, sir.
Okay.
You're saying if you have your garbage can, your garbage
My
cart,
house waste.
your house waste.
Domestic, okay.
And so you have one cart and you want another one, you have to purchase that second one. That's supposed to be the process. And let's say that you have a large family and you say, well, these two are not working on a weekly basis. Yeah, so you would submit the paperwork to the manager. The manager would investigate to make sure that you have that type of garbage out there that's in need of that third container. And with his permission, you would get that third container.
With the charge?
With the charge. You'd have to pay for that third cart also.
Okay, so we're paying for the cart. Are we also paying additional funds for the service?
No, sir. It's the normal
okay, so
solid
we're
waste.
just talking about purchasing the new cart.
About purchasing cart, sir.
Okay, so if we go up to a yard now and we see 3, I mean, I see it every Monday in an area. I'll just leave it like that. I'll see 3 rollouts, green or brown, and I'll even see 3 blue, all at one resident. Right now, you're saying we're still going to pick it up.
Yes, sir. Because
Now, is those rollouts going to be registered in any kind of way because there are 3 there? Because if someone else has one and they want another one, they're going to have to get charged? Or is it just is what it is if you have it right now?
Yes, sir, if I can. I think what we are talking about over time is transitioning from that state to one where you can have a maximum of 3 green cards out. Ideally, you would have no more than 2 out. If you are a family of 8, and there are some families who have large families or have other issues where they might generate a lot of trash, what we're saying in that is a very, very small percentage. As a matter of fact, if you were to take me to your neighborhood right now, you could point out for me probably every house where you see the multiple cards. But what we're talking about is that's unequitable. That's unequitable. And for everyone else to subsidize, we hear you loud and clear every time we have a budget. You keep saying the fee goes up, 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 up. If we don't know, there are how many of you up there? 10 of you on the dais right now. I can plan a route for 10 houses. But if Mr. Haire has out 2 carts, if Miss McGill has out 8, that truck that I sent out that might can control 12 carts is now overloaded, and I've got to stop by the time I get to Miss Kinston. That may be the case for any of it. And so how do we plan for that? We have to overstaff for all of that. So what the whole purpose tonight is to talk about certainty. We want to be able to tell folks that the service that you're getting is that you can get up to 2 green carts, you can get your recycling, and you can get yard waste, containerized yard waste. That's what you would get every week. We understand this is not something that the majority of folks abuse or use, overuse, but we want to bring some certainty to it. And for those folks who don't fit into that model, who don't, and there will be some, we will have options for them. But as the chart that Daniel showed that looked at the other cities, what you have, if you can scroll back, that showed the other cities, it shows what you have known for probably since you've all lived in the city of Fayetteville, is that we offer more service than anybody else. And the service isn't the issue. The issue is that without consistency, it is impossible for us to consistently collect everything and keep our city as clean and neat as you want it. I mean, I lived close to the mayor, right now down from our house. There's something out 3 or 4 doors down from the beginning of our subdivision. I mean, if I got an email today, text message from someone off of Strickland Bridge Road. What we're talking about is the cleanliness of the city, but also trying to create a professional image and a professional service. And what we have in front of you is we're trying to define our customers. Our customers will be defined who is defined in the county ordinance and the city ordinance. So you say, what do you need us to do then, Doug? We just need your backup when we go out and we start telling folks, these are the rules that have been in place and we want to enforce them. We also want to bring some certainty to the amount we want to collect. And probably something that I don't want to gloss over and may come up in some of the questions is that for those residents who live off of substandard roads that we cannot safely traverse, we're going to have to come up with a solution for them, and we believe we have some solutions, but again, that's not going to be something that's going to happen overnight. We're going to work on that over time.
Okay, my final, this is part 10 of 2.10. When we look at the bulky items that where you showed the pictures.
Yes, sir.
Now, I thought we already had a process in place. Okay, I thought that bulky curbside has to be called in. Big stuff. Okay, and if it's too big, then the resident has to pay the addition. Now, we're saying that, explain that to me, because I thought we had that, or is this one of those things you said we got to add to?
I think the manager has.
Well, I will also let Daniel and Sheila fill in anything that I get wrong, and please correct me if I get any of this wrong. That was the practice that the city had when I first came in 2004. And over time, you remember, sir, and Mr. Dawkins as well, some of the council members saying, just pick it up.
Right.
And over time, the staff just picked it up. And so it moved from people calling it in, which is why you remember Faith Thompson?
Yes, sir.
She started the call center with us. We had this process where we were really working on having people call it before they put it out. It wasn't a perfect system, but it was a good system. It was an improving system. Probably in 2012, when I left, the council at that time, working with staff, modified that, and they moved away from the call before you put it out. And the problem with that is exactly what you see and what you've just said, is it becomes nearly impossible. It becomes our responsibility once it's put to the curb. So what happens if a resident puts something to the curb that we can't collect? They've not called us, so we don't have a number necessarily to call Miss Smith. We've got to then go through the address, got to leave a note on the door. And what ends up happening is you have stuff that sits at the curb.
Right.
No joke, it can be a month until literally it is.
Yes.
I tell Daniel, just go pick it up.
Yeah.
And what we're saying is, through education and enforcement, we've got to change that. And the enforcement piece is going to be one that when they call you, you need to ask them just to call back to the staff. And we're going to work with them over probably, was it 18 months? Did we talk through 2022? We're going to work with them where first it's going to be nice and education, and then it's going to be education, then it's going to be education and enforcement, then it's going to be enforcement. But this is, again, the only city I've lived in, haven't lived in a lot of them, where you can put anything, a mattress, a refrigerator,
Right.
fixtures, toilets, I mean, anything to the road, and it becomes our responsibility to identify it
Right.
and to collect it.
Right.
And if you don't pick it up, then a lot of times people who have rental property, the landlord gets the nasty grams. And so we've got to come up with some solutions on this, and that's what staff is here to talk about tonight.
Well, thank you for your presentation. I have much more, but I'm going to abide by the mayor's
I appreciate it.
two-question rule.
Well, you exceeded that.
2.10.
All right. Thank you, Councilwoman Ingram.
Thank you. Mr. Redden, can you come back up here, please? Or whoever think they can answer it. I want to talk about the rapid program. So as you start talking about blighted communities, and I have quite a few of them, I have where in essence in my communities, they're renters. And so they're not necessarily taking care of the properties, but at the same time, the landlord property owners are not doing anything as well. So when I think about slumlords, I want to know within this, what is going to happen with these? Like where do they fit in this program to be held accountable?
As far as landlords, Council?
Yes.
So, in terms of code enforcement, when they go and apply that, and Dr. Newton could probably speak to it better than I can, but still working on the same program here. With Rapid, they're going to deal with the resident or the landlord or whoever is present at the
Property.
service point.
Okay.
If there's not a person there, we're going to go through our records in our database and find out who owns the residence and then engage them about it and find out what the issue is. In terms of having dilapidated housing or blighted housing, that's not in the purview of Rapid. However, as the city continues forward to build momentum on the lines of effort that Mr. Edwards spoke about, some of those community engagement programs that will surgically insert into smaller neighborhoods to make an impact, will address those in that program to bring city resources and nonprofit organizations and intergovernmental relationships to that event to help people get their areas cleaner, better, and have a higher quality of life. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
So my next question is, and I talked to Dr. Newton about this a lot, and it goes down to being good neighbors to each other. So my neighbor is an 84-year-old German lady. She can't take her own trash can to the street. So me and 3 other neighbors, we rotate and take her trash cans to the street for her, and we pick up her limbs. And so first part, Faith Fix It is not going anywhere, right? Okay, so what I have been trying to do is get churches and nonprofit organizations that are in the community to use Faith Fix It to say, hey, if you out here and you work here, use Faith Fix It and call it in for us. So how is this going to, is this call-in method going to add to Faith Fix It, or should I just tell people who have a lot of pickups, because in my district I have a lot of stuff that gets put out on the streets. People that don't even live in my district come and put stuff on our streets. And so what should I, because I'm trying to get them on Faith Fix It, but what should I just say, hey, now switch over and just call it in? and which is what I'm hearing. But is Fix-It working? Is I guess my bottom line question. Is it working?
Yes, ma'am, it does. It's like anything else, though. It is a constant effort to make sure that it is improved. For instance, right now, I think we have too many choices. When you go in and you look for an item very quickly, it's so many choices, and so that also is one of the projects that is on Brooke and IT's plate, as well as to streamline that process with maybe some quick, the number one issue that I call in is junk to the road or code violations, and you kind of have to scroll through the list, and so, but it does work. And it provides us a record, but it is something that we are working to continue to improve.
Okay, and I will agree that there are too many options on the Fix-It app to try and figure out which one to select. And thank you for that. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Kinston.
Thank you, Mayor. My question's been answered.
Thank you, Councilmember Kinston. Councilmember Dawkins, your question been answered too?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for being recognized. Mr. Edwards, thank you. And Mr. Mayor and Council, I recommend that we, move this to a work session. There's a few things we have to do in life, and handling solid waste is one of them. And doing our best with our utility to provide water and electricity and our sewer. So this to me is right up there with those three. A couple questions I had quickly. I like the idea, city manager, of communicating to the citizens. That's crucial. I think we've been picking it up, but we hadn't been charging properly. Would you agree with that statement, Mr. Edwards?
I would. We pick up and then we charge some pay, some don't.
Okay, so we need to streamline that. I didn't understand. I see that our budget is about a little over 15 million, but then I saw an 11,685,000, and I was trying to understand, was that maybe our solid waste and not our recycle? That's probably not being fair to you, throwing that at you just like that. That's probably operating costs. So,
yeah, that was 2000. That was fiscal year 2000, fiscal year 19 and fiscal year 20, and that's operation costs and all those different things.
All right, define for us operating costs, because it doesn't include the personnel. So I'm assuming that's our hardware. Our trucks?
Operation costs is our collections for yard waste, household, recycling, fleet, anything operational that we have to do all the time, vehicle maintenance, all those different things are in even capital for us is vehicle in the operation costs.
All right. And we don't pay a tipping fee to the county. Is that also true?
Not officially. But if we get items that out of code or wrong, too big,
they bill us?
We pay, yes, sir.
Okay, and then the next question, and this may be a legal question, and this will be my last question, Mr. Mayor. I want to be able to charge people for these illegal items that we end up picking up that we probably shouldn't have picked up, because I want our city to be beautiful. I want us to do all we can to beautify our city, because it affects economic development and jobs. It all comes back to economic development and jobs. So explain what our options are. We have them in our ordinance that we can charge people. Yes. If we charge and they don't pay, can we put a lien on their property?
Well, that's what we have to work out. Because we have all the makings of a good ordinance going up to a certain point, and then it just kind of falls off.
All right.
So that's why we want consent to go forward and make the ordinance what it needs to be, so that we can do that, fix all these issues that we're having.
My last comment, Mr. Mayor and Council, is I would really like to see us move this to a work session, do some serious study. This is 5 hours at a minimum. This is a 5 o'clock to 10 p.m. type of meeting minimum, Mr. Mayor, maybe more than one. When you're messing with people's trash, it gets people's attention because a real smart man told me about 30 years ago, son, just pick it up. And then when the city manager got here in '04, Councilmember Haire and I on council at the time said, assistant city manager and city manager Stansel, just pick it up. So this is huge. I mean, this is a sea change for our city. We do, I think, a better job than anybody in this state, but we also don't want to go broke doing it. And so thank you, Mr. Edwards.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Wright?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. I think these are a great report here on the recommendations of the collections that's really needed for our city. A couple of questions with the brown trash cans.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I finally bought one.
All right.
I was so excited.
Are you using it?
Right? I was like, wow, okay. And I put it out on the road, but they didn't collect my trash. I mean, it wasn't even full.
Did you call your council?
I had a talk with myself. And so I'm bringing it to you.
Yes, sir.
I like it.
And so I don't understand what happened. Maybe it was just, I don't know what happened, but I'm going to put it out again and see what happens. I'm not going to be discouraged. I like my brown trash can, and I'm going to put a lot of things in there. So the next question would be,
Yard trash.
it was just yard trash. It was just leaves, But anyway, it's fall time now. We're in the fall, and I know we had a policy that you had an initial pickup of leaves that did not have to be bagged. Is that something that the residents still can do?
Yes, that starts later in November.
It starts late in November, and you have a time.
I don't have the exact dates with me because we just did all the publications, but I
Right.
don't have the dates.
Well, I know those dates will get out. Staff does a pretty good job with
Now,
letting the residents know. Go ahead.
Parks picks up the loose leaves on the side of the road.
Right.
Not solid waste.
Right, just the loose leaves. This
The
is
loose
what I'm
leaf
talking
and
about
the,
for
and
fall.
straw, yes. Parks picks those up.
So will we have a problem with those loose leaves because at the time those leaves are out, the wind is blowing and clogging up the drains, we have problems that, what type of advice would you give residents when it comes to those drains being clogged?
I've always given residents the advice to clean in front of your own drain. If you have a drain in front of your house, it behooves you to make sure that there's nothing there. I have one, and because I got these trees all over the place, and I'm always cleaning out that straw from in front of that, because you don't know when somebody from the street department is going to be able to get around there to clean that up.
Right.
So you can. It makes sense to just clean it. Just get the straw and stuff from in front of it.
Right.
If you do it regularly, it won't get bad and it won't back up.
Great. So those are my questions. A lot of them have already been answered by previous council members, so thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, council. I kind of, and I'll pose this to you for a question. Now, I remember during budget time when they're asking for more money, they say, well, you can put a dead horse side of the road and we'll get it. That's a famous quote that the manager uses, all right?
And we were going to pick it up
Right.
until the man
Okay,
carried it
and
himself.
so I guess I kind of agree with Councilman Dawkins, because that is one of the things that we've had as our flagship that we provide as a service, that if you put it there, we'll get it. I do agree that it probably needs to be tweaked and tightened up so that it's more efficient, so that as we're being more liberal, we're also being more effective and efficient. I got that. I do think it is probably a larger conversation we need to have, because as we talk about some of the things that we don't do very well, which we have those, one of the things we tell the people out west is that we provide trash service. You get trash service, and now to come back and to stack fees and extra costs and try to do all of that before we complete our obligations, I think is irresponsible. But I would like to pose this to council. I think this is an item that we may need to bring back so that we can spend some time and to make sure that it's right, because this is one of the things that we can point to all the time that we are doing correct. So, council, I entertain maybe a motion to. Oh, Councilmember Banks-McLaughlin. All right. So I'll do that, but council, after that, I'll circle to you. I see some of you on the red, so hopefully maybe if it's something that you think that you'll be interested in, if there's a consensus to bring us to a work session, maybe we can submit those questions and spend a little bit more time. This item actually was scheduled for our work session. It got bumped because we had so many council member requests. And so this is something that we really do need to spend some quality time on because they need some certainty, so I get that. I'll go to Councilmember Banks-McLaughlin, then I want to take a temperature check, guys, before we start the second round, if necessary. Councilmember Banks.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Mr. Edwards, thank you for everything that you're doing. You're new on board, so we appreciate you. One of my concerns is, which I've spoke with you, is regarding customer service with our waste management. I've had constituents reach out to me in regards to the trash trucks leaking. I've heard hydraulic oil. I've been seeing skid marks. What are some of the ways we can accommodate the citizens as far as those marks being in front of their yards due to the smell and what the odor and the marks?
Well, one of the things we definitely have to do is identify any of our trucks that are leaking, because that's just leachate. I know a lot of residents. I've gone to residents' homes and talked to them about it myself since I've been here, and explained to them that it's leachate and it does stink, and we'll go out there and we steam, pressure wash in front of their homes. We just purchased some new type of detergent to help get these get up the odor. The stains, I will not lie to you, do not go away that easily. Sometimes the stains take a while to go away, but we push and to make sure that the odor is gone. And then we just work to get the trucks up so that we can get the seals done. And then some of the older trucks, make sure if there's any holes in there, they're welded.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me know that. And again, I know we had a conversation previous, but I wanted the citizens to know that we had that conversation and that that's something that we're working on.
Yes, ma'am.
The second thing with the rapid team, is that's something we currently have?
That's something we just received.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not up and running yet. That's something that's proposed. No, that's funded.
That's what I thought I heard.
Yeah, that was funded, but we're hiring people right now and getting that in order, in line with everything else that we're doing. I don't know if I answered that good enough for you, Brooke.
Because if so, I was going to say I'm interested in you guys attending some of my community watch meetings to kind of provide the citizens some resources as far as what's taking place.
We're in the hiring process now, and we anticipate having them fully onboarded and read on to their different duties, being that they have to get trained in code enforcement and a couple other things first by January. So we're about to list that position in the city and pull those personnel in and then begin their onboarding process.
Okay, and the reason too, but I want you guys to come to a community watch meeting. And I'm putting it out there now. And the reason too, they closed, the county closed the Lowell Harris dump site. So with that being said, if we're already experiencing a large load in waste and illegal dumping, that's something that I think the council need to consider.
Thank you, ma'am.
And one thing about that too is we were already going out. Matter of fact, the only one we were able to get to was Councilman Haire's area for the neighborhood watch. And then COVID hit. We were scheduled to go someplace else, but then they canceled all of those. So we will go out and talk to anybody. It could be the rapid team. It could be my team. We want to engage the community because from where I come from, I understand the best way to get the word out is to get into the community groups and let them, I think Ms. Ingram said, Councilman Ingram said that, put pressure, residents can put pressure on other residents. So that's how I'm used to that. So we will talk to anybody.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Edwards.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem. No? Well, okay, look. All right. Mr. Hewitt, real quick, before we...
Yes, sir. Council, thank you for your interest. We're happy to bring this to you to a work session to continue the conversation. As Mr. Dawkins and Mr. Haire both said, this has been something that we've talked about for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And it's probably something because it is one of the core services we have. But I just want to put this in context. Mr. Edwards said that We have about 6 million encounters a year. Let's just do the math, because I had to do it on my phone, but some of you probably can do it in your head. 61,000 households that we potentially could serve with a green card every week. Multiply that times 3, and the 3 would be the green card, the brown card, and recycling. Then multiply that times 52 weeks a year. That is 9.5 million encounters, 9.5 million encounters potentially a year. Think about it. Do you get 1,000 calls and complaints a year?
About trash?
About trash? No.
You get a lot.
So that's less than a 0.0.0.0.0.1. We're nailing this. We're killing it. But we're killing it at the expense of doing it inefficiently, as well as leaving a lot of trash out on the road.
Yeah.
You won't get 1,000 complaints once we make these modifications, but you'll probably get double the amount you are now from people as we are educating them and beginning the enforcement. But trust me, it's worth it. We get this right, and we get it right every week. But we can't do it and continue to hold the fees at bay and try to keep a clean city. That's really what we were here to talk about tonight. But we'll schedule this for a work session as soon as we can. In the interim, I'm going to ask that we reach out to you, each of you individually, and see if you have any questions. So you'll probably get a call from one of the assistants, and Mr. Edwards and Ms. Thomas-Ombud, just to kind of see if you have any questions. We want to reach out to each, and then we'll schedule it back for a work session.
Can we consider not having such a full agenda, because this is such a long item here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Whenever
we
yes, sir. We absolutely will.
All right, thank you. Great presentation, guys. We look forward to the conversation.
Mayor
About this going to the work session? Yes. Is it necessary at this point? Go ahead.
Thank you. I had just want to know, would it be possible, or I'm probably not recommended, but would it be possible for us to reduce fees due to these changes?
I would say probably not.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll look forward to a more robust conversation at a work session. Item 9.02, Mr. Manager.
Yes, Mayor. Michael Gibson has a brief presentation that he wants to show you about a very exciting project. And we basically want to put your eyeballs on it as the council before we continue our further development of this project.
What we have is the North Carolina Veterans Park 2. As soon as the bridge was finished, the 3.5 acres came available. So we have Lisa Estridge, who's zooming, and she's the architect that we have. She'll be coming on and explaining the whole thing to you.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you about this design vision for the second phase of the North Carolina Veterans Park. The design that hopefully you're seeing in front of you reflects the culmination of the shared efforts of both the steering committee and the design team. We have all made it our mission to develop a plan that can balance the existing site conditions with what could be the potential uses of the site, and to reconcile the budget with creating a space that honorably reflects our North Carolina veterans. Another key goal of this design is flexibility. Given where our current budget lies, we're continuing to develop additional potential features that can possibly be added to this project if bids come back favorably, or if they can be constructed at a future date. Our intention is to plan for those features now with this design, and at a minimum, create the required infrastructure for them now so that they are closer within reach. So the existing site is located just north of the existing North Carolina Veterans Park, as well as the Airborne and Special Operations Museum. It's the parcel that lies southeast of the realigned intersection of Rowan Street and Bragg Boulevard. With DOT's realignment and the location of the new Rowan Street overpass, the site for phase 2 has grown to be just under 8 acres in size. This is almost 4 times larger than the extent of the current North Carolina Veterans Park. A large portion of the site lies within an area that is impacted by flooding, and so it will require a special level of study and permitting in order to construct any of the level of improvements that are shown. The design team went through multiple design options for how this park could be both formed and what kind of uses and features could be provided given the existing conditions and the budget. That design exploration yielded the preferred option that you're seeing in front of you. We have entitled it Peaceful Reflection due to the desire to provide a more naturalistic, passive, pastoral landscape that responds to the limitations of the floodplain while still providing opportunities for us to reflect on the military heritage of our veterans and provide a space that can be used for all. Beginning at the northwest corner of the site, at the intersection of Rowan Street and Bragg Boulevard, a gateway plaza is proposed to serve as an iconic space which not only signals your arrival to the park, but to one of the outer edges of the downtown Fayetteville core as well. Signage walls will envelop the plaza, and flagpoles, each one showcasing each of the 5 branches of military service, will encircle that pedestrian area. And depending on budget constraints, the design team is continuing to develop a potential addition of a custom light feature to be located at that gateway that will further signify the impact of your arrival both to the park and to downtown. A large central green that we are calling the parade ground comprises the heart of this area of the park. It's intended to be a flexible, open green space which can accommodate a variety of uses and sizes of gatherings and events, and has the potential to host military ceremonies in addition to just being an amenity for public recreation activities. A wide multi-use path will arc along the north boundary of the parade ground, and it creates a primary pedestrian connection to a plaza space that would lie on the eastern edge of the site. We're calling that walk a hero's journey, as it is intended to incorporate feature bands that has words inscribed in the pavement. And those words would reflect the highly respected values that have been instilled in our veterans over their years of military service. This walk would also be lined with pedestrian light poles to add a sense of security and accessibility at night. And then new shade tree plantings would march along the south side so that we're providing shade for those users. The destination at the end of the walk is Unity Plaza, which is a paved open space meant to offer flexible seating options with things like seat walls, benches, movable tables and chairs. They can be moved to accommodate both the daily users or larger sizes of gatherings that might accommodate different programs. Raised landscape mounds that would be planted with native grasses and perennials would provide some seasonal interest and frame some smaller pockets of gathering spaces within the larger plaza. Another alternate feature being developed is the potential for incorporating interpretive signage pillars that would be scattered around Unity Plaza. And these would incorporate imagery and narratives for various historic structures of military significance, such as a mess hall, barracks, a chapel, things like that, basically telling their stories and giving some notion of what they look like. The south side of the Central Green is an area that is anticipated to be most impacted by flood activity during different storm events. You know, in reflecting the need to provide resiliency in the use of that area and the materials being constructed within that area, smaller garden paths are shown to weave through swaths of native plantings. And those plantings can survive the flooding inundation during storm events, and then provide conveyance of stormwater on a daily basis. Those garden paths would converge at various nodes that would accommodate more kind of program uses and gatherings, and provide additional seating. The Hero's Journey Walk is intended to be that primary pedestrian conveyance for the people wanting to have that most direct route to downtown, whereas the garden paths are intended for more kind of meandering park users. A pedestrian bridge spanning over Cross Creek is proposed to extend from the south side of the park to connect with the north edge of the existing Veterans Park, unifying those north and south areas of the park. This would also provide a connection to the existing visitor center, which has the the restroom facilities and other facilities that would be utilized by users of this phase 2 area. Another alternate that the design team is continuing to develop, should funding become available, is incorporating a potential water feature in this area where the bridge links the two parcels. Additional parking intended to possibly be able to serve this area of the park is envisioned to potentially be constructed along with the future Hillsborough Street improvements on the east section of the park. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you about this design. As an Army brat myself, it's always a privilege to work on anything devoted to our veterans. So we see this development of the design to not only honor them, but to be an amenity for all of the citizens of Fayetteville.
Thank you so much. Michael, what's the timeline on this project?
If we get you to give us a consensus, we just give it to the manager, he'll execute the contract, and we start.
How long is the construction?
I don't know how long the construction is. The permitting is the issue now, because you're touching that creek, and Lisa's given us some numbers on getting that permitting done. Back in the old days, we wouldn't worry about that, but now in the new days, we got to worry about that.
I got you. All right. Councilman Dawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, Mr. Gibson, is the state paying for this? What's the funding?
That's a very good question. This is residue money that we had from the first Veterans Park, about 1.1 million. That we
From
never.
the 15 million that was originally allocated? Well, that goes back to 2004, I believe. Councilman Haire and I were working on that.
It was truncated somewhat,
Yeah.
but it is the original.
Yes.
Tranche.
I don't think it was 15 million. Is it?
I think all told, that was what the late Senator Rand and Councilman Haire and Mayor Pitts and myself and some others were involved. Doesn't matter, but that's
yes,
all.
sir. We have about 1.1 million left.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And she mentioned benches. I'm thrilled. I love to see the trees, but I don't see any benches kind of on that top right side. I mean, I'm hoping we'd put 5 or 6 in there, and then maybe if they get used a bunch, we'd put more benches in there.
Yes, sir. We would add the benches.
All right, and then lights, definitely we need it well lit, and then connecting to Linear Park, I would hope would be what we plan to also do.
It is. One of the things the mayor just spoke about a few minutes earlier is there's a trail that comes from Masrick Park that comes up under the new bridge that goes right by here. That's
We can
funded.
connect to Masrick and to Linear.
Yes, sir.
Which would get us down to the river.
Yes, sir.
All the way.
Yes, sir.
Which would be great for our trail system. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Did you have something to do with that? Oh, thank you. I wanted you to take credit. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. See, Councilman Wright, was that a second to Councilwoman Ingram's motion that she was about to make? Go ahead, sir.
All right, Michael, just have a question. I had to leave an emergency for a second. And so we're talking about the secondary Veterans Park, but across Rowan there, and we're talking about also, V Point, all that is low line, but this is low line as well. So, the presenter was talking about, what it's going to take to allow this to be land that we can actually use. Have we considered the cost
Yes,
and
sir.
just the preparation, what are we looking at?
Well, right now, her proposal is about $100,000, somewhere there, 120, 130,000, to go ahead and get all the permitting and get all the stormwater, along with the other permits needed to start this. And see, one of the things that'll be good for this now is that if it does flood, then it helps us down the creek on Ray Avenue. So Ray Avenue floods all the time when it gets a big rain. So by making sure that we can use some of this area to hold some water,
Right.
then it gives us an opportunity not to send all the water downstream as fast.
Thus the greenage.
Exactly.
Okay.
So once it floods, just like Ray Avenue, we clean it off, grass grows back, and we're in business again.
So we're not talking about putting a lot of structures out
No, sir.
there.
No, sir.
Okay. All right.
Just
thank you.
pathways and benches.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor Colvin. I would like to make a motion to approve the schematic design as presented by Ratio Architects of Raleigh and direct staff to move forward with the bidding process.
So there's a motion by Councilmember Ingram. There's a second by Councilmember Banks-McLaughlin. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, look to you for your, all right, Councilmember Kinston, you were voting? That's what I'm talking about. Just quick on the draw. All right, Councilman Dawkins. All right. Madam
Thank
Clerk,
y'all.
that's unanimous, so motion carries. All right, Mike, let's get us a park down there, brother. All right, council, motion to adjourn. All right, thank you.